So, hi, I'm Steve Thompson, president of Emery Thompson Machine, and welcome to Make It Fresh. Christi Brown, our sales manager, and the very famous, introduce yourself.
I'm Jeff.
Tie-dye Jeff. And
Tie-dye Jeff is now wearing a moo apron.
A moo apron.
A moo apron.
You look good. You look cute.
Yeah,
well,
when
thank you.
Yeah.
You look pretty good too.
Well, thanks.
When I wore it, you said I looked like an escapee from a hospital ward.
You did. You did. That wasn't on camera, though. We're on camera now.
Okay. Well, we're going to make some...
By the way, why am I the only one wearing an apron?
We don't spill.
You're the only one that's messy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
and besides, it fits you. It looks good on you.
Okay.
But if you are interested in a apron, they come from, got to check, Frozen Solutions. And we'll talk about them today from time to time about some cups and things like that. We give shameless plugs for free to other companies. So if you have a shameless plug you want us to make for your company, by all means,
just send us stuff.
Lots of free stuff, and we'll talk
the
about
swag, baby. Send the swag.
But while we're on that, you were just saying this morning that
big shortage of cups in the industry.
Yeah,
big shortage. The major places that sell cups are out. They're out of cups, and obviously the reason, you know the reason, right?
They come from China.
No, the reason is that everybody's getting into this business and they're buying product left and right, and they're out of it. You can buy styrofoam, but you don't want to do that. Nobody wants.
Yeah, no, that's awful.
Awful.
And bad for the environment.
These beautiful cups here, I'm open to getting free swag too.
I just gave you my apron.
Hey,
my hospital gown.
I want cups. I need cups.
No, but yeah, things are in short supply. But the interesting part about it is just what Jeff said, so many people going into the business. Last year during the COVID was our largest sales year in 116 years, and this year is very close to double that. It's just amazing because people want to get out. Ice cream is a tradition. I have a lot of fun. I go to people in these classes, and if I say to you, where did you go for ice cream when you were growing up? Almost always a big smile comes on their face, and they say, well, my Grammy used to take me to such and such a place, or Dad would load us all into the car. My story wasn't so good. We would go to Baskin Robbins because my father, who ran the company then, made absolutely horrible ice cream, and it was always vanilla. But we won't go into that today. But yeah, Frozen Solutions has cups. So we're going to get going. We're going to start with an Italian ice. Christi has been coming up with the formulas on these, and they're really fantastic. I'll keep one for us, and you want to just drop these or drop them off and let them pass around? The formula will be up on the website for you, emerythompson.com. You're watching this on YouTube or at our website, and there are, as I said, 438 with 6 more coming by next week. And we keep adding to the repertoire. It tells you everything about how to make the product. We give you the formula. We write it down and put it up at the website. Jeff's you have to write quickly because he's running a business and he keeps his semi-secret. But if you slow the speed of the tape down to like this, then you can get his recipes. And he doesn't turn around and measure, so they're there. The strawberry pink lemonade is going to be pink lemonade concentrate, sugar, strawberries, frozen strawberries that we've thawed, and we're going to add an optional, that would be for the general public, but if you were doing something for adults, we're going to add, Christi found tequila rose strawberry cream liqueur. It takes longer to say it than it does to drink it, but it should be very good. And so we'll start off with that Italian ice. And let's see, we need to measure out the strawberries. Yep. And you're going to go ahead and talk about that.
Yep.
This is Italian ice?
Italian ice.
So, of course, they know that Italian ice have come a long way since lemon cherry chocolate.
Oh, yeah, we're doing every flavor under the sun. Ralph's Ices up in Staten Island now does what he calls ice cream ices. We all grew up in New York, lemon, cherry, grape, orange, chocolate, and very ethnic. You could pick a neighborhood. It's the Feast of San Gennaro, bring lemon ice. It's the Puerto Rican Day Parade down Fifth Avenue, bring mango and margarita and something like this. And so on. But now we've expanded. We can make Oreo cookie Italian ice, chocolate chip Italian ice, salted caramel, anything that you want. And being a sugar water base, it's very refreshing. Ice cream down here in Florida can actually make you sweat and give you a stomach ache because of the high heat and humidity. That's why Jeff and I run a low fat content. But the Italian ice it's like having Gatorade poured over your head. I'll let Christi continue while I measure this.
All right, so we only need 3.5 quarts, but instead of figuring out all that fun math, we're just going to use 3 of these and then follow the directions and then just pour 3.5 into here. Makes life a lot easier. These are a lot of fun. A lot of people use these. So it says 3.
What are they?
It's pink lemonade concentrate. To where you make pink lemonade for the kids. Anybody ever drink these as a kid? No? You can get them in the freezer section by the fruit. They're like $1.20.
When they were kids, the covered wagon delivered blocks of ice up to their houses.
Yeah.
We're not that old, Jeff.
Nobody remembers that,
No, neither do I, Jeff. And if I did, I wouldn't admit to it. I grew up just outside the Bronx and lived in the Bronx, so they didn't have those things then.
Yeah, we did in Brooklyn.
I saw a horse once on a TV show. I think Roy Rogers was riding it.
Oh, stop, you're lying.
So we've got the sugar measured out, the strawberries and the sugar.
You wanted to add the strawberries right into the machine?
Yeah.
All right.
And we'll add the liqueur right into the machine too.
Okay. It's always best to dissolve your sugar a little bit whenever you're making Italian ices because it wears out your blades faster if you were to just put the sugar straight into the machine.
So instead of lasting 45 years, the blades will last 40 years.
Something like that.
Right.
Is the machine sanitized?
Yes, ready to go.
Okay. All right. We'll do it in the CB350.
Oh, the 350? Okay. That's ready to go too.
Right.
Very quiet.
Yes, question.
What is the difference between the base and concentrate?
I'm sorry, what?
What is the difference between the base, flavor base, and the concentrate?
Okay, let me see if I have one
The
here.
question was, what's the difference between a base and a concentrate?
Right.
Yes.
Mike, is your camera working okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I didn't know if it was getting Christi over there. We're using fresh frozen fruit for our flavor. If you're using a base, which is fine too, it comes in a gallon jug like this from Rice Company. This one happens to be mango. And they have, without a doubt, the best mango. Even if I have a choice of doing a base or fresh, mangoes are really hard because there's about 6 different varieties. They seem to be ripe for one day, and it's hard to get hold of them. So there are cases where I use both. I'll use a base in some flavors. Most everything I do is sugar, water, and fresh frozen fruit, or sugar, water, and nuts, or sugar and water and cookies. So I try to do most of my buying that I learned from Jeff at the supermarket. But in some cases, if you want cotton candy, we don't have any cotton candy trees growing here in Florida. So you would go to Rice and get a cotton candy base. So it's really gonna depend on your market. If you're selling to high-end restaurants, you'd be changing the name from Italian ice to sorbet. Christi's got everything running in the machine now. So let's walk over this way. And you're gonna add the liqueur to it. Now she turned on the infinite overrun control and set it to Italian ice and got that running. And then she turned on the refrigeration right away. because nothing is going to really happen in there for at least 6 or 7 minutes. Italian ices take about 14 minutes to freeze. So we're getting about 7 minutes of mixing while we're still producing the product. So on the base, it's excellent for a lot of flavors and a lot of other things. Most everything else I do fresh.
So is there a difference, to answer his question specifically, is there a difference between a concentrate and a base?
Concentrate is going to be, excuse me, I'll go off camera for a second. A concentrate is just going to be an extract. This is a Edgar Weber company. This is going to be, a concentrate is going to be like this, and I might say add 4 ounces of concentrate to this mix, whereas the base is going to be a full, on this size machine, it's going to be a full quart, or a 24 quart machine, you would add
I think
this.
the major difference might be that in a concentrate, they've extracted all the water from it. And in that base there, it's got water in it.
Yeah, I take it a little simpler. I think the quality between an extract and a base, the base is going to be better. So it's extract, base, and then fresh.
Real stuff.
Yes.
So we use less amount in the.
Can you speak out? I got the machine.
Yes,
behind
we
me.
use less in that.
In the concentrate.
Oh, this is only going to be a couple ounces. This is going to be a quart, and that's going to be whatever I call for the fresh
And the
fruit.
base is sweet or no?
It depends on the base. Most of them are concentrated sweet. But it'll depend on the flavor you're getting and then how much
Smells
you
really
want
good.
it.
Oh, yeah?
When you make something, as it's mixing, taste.
Doesn't it?
And then you can change things as you go along. You'll see when I get up there, they go strictly by the recipe. I tend to make everything. That's why if you open a store...
Jeff, you're going to have to come on camera. They can't see you.
If you open a store in... Where are you from? Is this a long story? I just need an answer.
Middle East.
Where?
Middle East, Iraq.
No, where do you live here?
Orlando.
Orlando. If you open a store in Orlando and he opens a store in Fort Lauderdale, which is same state, he's going to have different sweetness levels than you will. Because I think in South Florida they want things a little sweeter than possibly up here. Certainly sweeter than in Des Moines or Salt Lake City. So it's regional as far as sweetness. And when you add, it'll depend on what flavor you're adding. This is cotton candy. So is this sweet? I don't know. I would have to taste it. But you may want to add sugar to your formula. This may not be sweet enough. I don't think it has a bearing on whether you're using this or that as far as sweetness or anything. Sorry.
One of the things I came up with to pass out to you today, and we'll put it back up again on the website with the videos, is the actual cost breakdown of an Italian ice. I can make a 3-gallon tub, something about the size of this. Let me get it out. I can make this for about $5 of ingredients in Italian ice. And if you sell it at $2.50, you're going to make about $350 on a tub, which is pretty incredible. That will be a normal ice. That's going to be something that you might buy at Yankee Stadium or from a vendor on the street. But if you're going to have a business and really produce a great product, then you do it the way of the sugar, water, and fresh fruit. That's going to raise the cost to $9.10 for this tub. So instead of $5, $9.10. I'm still getting $2.50 a scoop if I want, but the difference is instead of the Italian ice being an afterthought, oh, I just happen to be walking by and I'm thirsty, you'll have people lined up around the block. So the fresh fruit is what makes the difference. And it's interesting, people call up and they say to me, okay, I made strawberry ice last night, but how do I make black raspberry? How do I make blueberry? And I go, follow the strawberry formula. The only change is the fruit. So if you know the sugar and water ratio, which we give you for free on the videos, you can make any flavor that you want. And to have to keep from rinsing out the machine all the time, I start with a light flavor and work down. So I would make lemon ice first because it's white, and then I would make orange ice. It's going to be yellow, and then from there I would go into my other flavors. The orange and the lemon started off as tart, the orange is less tart, and now I'm going to do strawberry, which is red, and then I'm going to do Bordeaux cherry, which is darker red, and then I'm going to do black raspberry. So I've made all those flavors without ever after even rinsing out the machine. So we'll pass these around. It's the breakdown of cost of making an Italian ice. It's just incredible how profitable it is. Christi, you said that smells good?
Yeah, it does. Making Italian ice or making any ice cream of any sort, it's like Jeff has said many times, it's an art. So everybody goes to the grocery store, looks at the produce section, looks at the vegetables, and you come up with a dinner idea. It's the same thing when it comes to making ice cream and Italian ice. What flavors will go good together? Just like this one. I haven't tried it yet, but I don't think it's not gonna taste good. It was actually I'm a softball mom, so a lot of us moms were sending a picture around of a frozen pink lemonade with some strawberry cream liqueur to start, at the hotels when we're traveling and all of that stuff. And I was like, Italian ice. So that's where this come from, and using pink lemonade concentrate that costs $1 a can. You can't get any cheaper than that, and you mix it with water and just start coming up with flavor ideas. It's not hard. It's a lot of fun going through the produce and picking this up. I wonder what this would taste like. Well, what if I add this? And a couple batches in, or even your first shot, you'll get it just right.
We didn't even test run this. We don't know how it's going to taste. We do know how it's going to taste. We know it's going to work because it's a mathematical formula. You need a certain amount of sugar and water and flavor for it to freeze properly. And then from there, you take this recipe and you modify it to your own personal taste. So you can take my 440 free recipes at emerythompson.com and make them your own by making personal changes. I like it a little sweeter. I like it a little more tart. I think it needs some strawberry. You can sometimes add a strawberry extract to bolster the flavor of the fruit that you've got. Melons, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew. They taste great when you eat them, but when you make an Italian ice out of them, they're bland beyond belief. You can't put in enough honeydew. So you get a honeydew extract, and it says put in, 2 ounces, 3 ounces to 5 gallons of water. Well, we're not using 5 gallons of water, so I do the math down, and I end up putting in about a half ounce into my cantaloupe, and there I've got my flavor. But it really is that simple to make all the different ices. It's just a sugar water formula. So Christi and I knew in advance. Christi came up with the formula, the flavor, and then I did the math on it and just said this ought to work. We used to ask in this class, very self-aggrandizing of myself, to say, isn't it great? Don't you love it? And we've changed that now recently, Jeff and I, to where, okay, what would you do different? Because that's what you want to ask yourself, is what would I do different to improve this flavor? I talk to a lot of people. They want to go into the business, and they think they want to start off with our little 1.5 quart machine, and they're going to experiment for a couple of years. Jeff and I just pull our hair out, and Christi too. You don't need to experiment for a couple of years. We've done everything for you. The mathematics is there. All you have to do is make it and then just say, okay, this was batch 1, the way Steve and Christi made it. This is what I like about it, this is what I don't like about it. And then you make batch 2, where you put in your personal taste. I think it should be a little sweeter, and you add some more sugar. And then you probably stop there, or maybe you'll make a third batch. And the third batch, that's it. That's the one I'm going to sell. So we didn't spend months and years coming up with strawberry pink lemonade. We hit it right on target within the first 3. Don't do what I do. Put everything on a file card as you do it. As we talk today, we'll make some changes here as by what you said you liked. Put it on a file card and label it 1, 2, 3, or any way you want. Because when you hit the perfect formula, then you go, this is great, this is it. What did I do? You know, and you can't remember. Was it the batch number 2 that was great or batch number 3? So definitely do that one. By the way,
Probably another minute. It's got a lot of sugar content.
we've been running 11 minutes. There is a timer on there. It's a run time. So if you turn on the machine but don't turn on the refrigeration, the timer is going to be on, but it isn't going to mean anything to you because you're just letting it slosh around. That's why we turn on the infinite overrun, turn on the refrigeration, and we have all that time where it's just getting colder. It's like watching water boil. It just sits there and does nothing for about 8 minutes, and then in the 9th minute, boom, all of a sudden it's boiling. Well, we're going to have a lot of cooling going on here, but no actual making of the product until we hit up around 9 minutes or so.
That's a question I get asked a lot, is how long are batch times? Your batch times are going to vary. The more sugar you add, the longer it's going to take to freeze. An example, the pink concentrate was sugar, then we added more sugar. Strawberries have sugar, and then we added tequila rose, which has a little bit of sugar. So we added sugar, 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 sugar. It's a lot of sugar in one cup, but it's going to take longer to freeze scientifically.
Like a
It can be
10-minute
anywhere
difference
from-
or like an hour or?
No, it can be like anywhere from 2 minutes to 4 minutes longer than normal batch. Like ice cream can take, vanilla can take 8 minutes, chocolate can take 10. You know, orange Italian ice and this one obviously can take 13 minutes versus lemon ice can take 8 minutes.
How critical is that timing? Like we need to be done right at 13 minutes or we need to be done right at?
It's by eyeball. So this is
Okay.
what we call a cutoff check. You
don't
open
think
it and close it, and
if you lower
then
that down a little, we're just going to, like that.
see how it's still running?
A little too soft.
Every chef is different. It's what I tell people. So I pull mine a little bit thinner than an example, your dad, Mike. Mike pulls his a lot more thicker than I do. Same thing with Jeff. Jeff pulls his thinner, Steve pulls his thicker. So it's a chef preference.
The texture is good at all through those different points. It's not
That's
going to
just so good.
change. It's going to be smooth and creamy. What changes texture? How was it?
Amazing.
Oh, good.
See, first shot. We didn't even try this yet, and it came out amazing.
Sugar is an Italian ice. Sugar is what controls the smoothness. You hear people talk about Italian ice. That's a New York term and a Chicago term. Italian water ice is Philadelphia. When I hear someone say Italian water ice, they say, and they're in Utah, I go, so when did you leave Philly? Because water ice is just what they call it there. Rita's, who we put in business, calls it water ice. I think it's a pretty awful name myself. I think Italian ice sounds better. But there is a difference. Thinking on the bigger machine, I use 7 pounds of sugar and 14 quarts of water for my lemon ice. That's a New York ice. If I'm going to make a Philadelphia ice, it is slightly sweeter, not by much, but it's a whole lot smoother. And the difference is 1 pound of sugar. I use 7 pounds of sugar. Philadelphia uses 8 pounds of sugar. You get up into Rhode Island, where they call it slush. I sell to Universal, SeaWorld, Disney. They call it frozen lemonade. That product is all the way down at 6 pounds. So it's a very coarse texture. And then you go to Bay 8th Street in Brooklyn, a real pure Italian neighborhood. Everybody speaks Italian, and they call it granita or granite. And granita is it's like chopped ice almost, and it's only 5 pounds. So if you say you want a smoother ice, up the sugar.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it. So we're going to shut off the refrigeration. Even though you shut it off, it's still going to freeze for a little bit. I think I might need another container.
I'll get you a second can. See how fast that comes out? That's what we're looking to do, is get it made and get it out.
Need another one.
Got it. Now the color on that is just beautiful. It's a nice pale pink. And the machine is going to discharge all but a few ounces of the product. So when you go from a lighter to a darker, you have overlap. But if you're going from lemon to orange, orange is still a tart fruit, but it's sweeter. And then from orange to cherry,
Isn't that pretty?
or strawberry, and it's gorgeous. Orange to cherry will be darker and silver lap. Yes.
They prefer to put it as a.
I'm sorry, you gotta speak up.
Some chefs, she said some chefs, they prefer it as softer than the other chefs. Why?
It's personal preference.
What is the benefit?
There is no
secret on that.
there is
why
no-
they prefer it.
There's no benefit of pulling it sooner or later. It's a matter of what you care about. When I watch my wife Paula bake, and she sets the oven at 350 for 22 minutes, she doesn't just pull the banana bread out. She then takes a knife or a fork and checks it and sees how it is. So it's an approximation. This is not difficult to do. If we can do it, and you see how simple it is. In fact, Jeff sat back here in 2006 and made the wonderful comment. He said, if that idiot Steve Thompson can do this, imagine what I could do. And that's what we like to hear. I mean, you can leave the word idiot out, but that's what we like to hear because it is that simple.
Jeff, you have to try
it's
this.
personal preference of when you pull it. The point is, you look at any other machine and it's coming out slowly and dribs and drabs, and that's a real detriment because now as you pull product out, there's more space in the barrel, so your consistency, your air content is going to change. Less product in the barrel, more opportunity to get air. I did an article I can send to you called the tater tot theorem. And basically, I lined up a bunch of tater tots on my baking pan, put them in the oven, and then I treated it like some people run a batch freezer. When it was ready, I took the first row out. They were perfect. I took the second row out, and they were a little more crunchy. Then the third row, because it's sitting in the oven. By the fifth row, the kitchen's on fire because I didn't take them out and they're all burning up in the oven. So the point is you want to be able to get your product out very, very quickly.
So watch all the videos. It comes out.
Nowadays it impresses much faster, so that's great.
The couple in the back, welcome. We're going to pass this out. This is a strawberry pink lemonade, and it does have a little bit of alcohol in it. Just advise you of that. Do we need more?
Nope. I have 2 on that ledge if you don't mind grabbing.
So let me just again show you what that looks like. It's a beautiful color. That's a gorgeous product.
What a way to wake up in the morning with alcohol, right?
Yeah, it gets the class going. So there is a tinge of alcohol in there. And as you can see, there is so much refrigeration in the Emery Thompson that we're able to put the alcohol right into the machine. Nobody else can do that. But we're able to and still get that nice, beautiful consistency that we want. So we'll put that in the freezer. And then we'll be turning this over to Jeff. Woohoo!
Hey guys, it has alcohol.
Why is this left over?
That's what we didn't use.
How?
We wanted to mix
Good.
it using full cans to show people, so that we would be
Just
making
plopped
it
them
safe.
right
What
in
are we
there.
gonna do with it?
Food processor, they went right in the machine.
Yep.
You want that mixture?
No.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Before I turn, let me just show it real quick. Before I turn this over the floor to Jeff, we used a gelato pan with this size machine. It fills this plus another 1.5. So we rated at 6 quarts. We know it makes about 7 or so. But these are nice. This is not a stainless steel gelato pan. This is a liner for a gelato pan. And I can use these about 4, 5, 6 times. They're great for wholesale because when you take these to a restaurant, if you had gelato pans, they're not going to wash them and stack them and keep them in their kitchen waiting for you. They don't have the room. So this is a good way to do it. That's gelatosupply.com. And you can always call us with any... You want me to put that in the freezer?
No, I gotta go pack it in little ones.
Okay. Or get
All
the
right.
door.
I'm out for a little bit, guys. See you later.
I guess it's time for me.
It is time for you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome me or welcome them? Or-
You.
Okay, welcome. Whatever. A little different today. We're gonna start off making something that we had in the class. It's key lime. Actually, it's key lime pie ice cream. Pretty popular down in this part of the world. Who's here from Florida? Oh, most of the people, and up in the balcony, those people are okay. We like to let them think it's a big crowd here.
They wouldn't allow it under COVID.
So what we're going to make is key lime pie ice cream. And as opposed to the ices that Steve and Christi made, this is going to require what we call and have always called ice cream mix, which is a blend of milk, skim milk, milk solids, heavy cream, all that good stuff. And as Steve always says, this is so fresh it came out of the cow yesterday, which is, of course, an unabashed lie. But
It came out this morning.
right. It is delivered to your stores in these boxes, and this is pretty universal all over the country. 2 bladders, these are bladders, to a box. Each bladder is 10 quarts. And frozen, they'll last, nothing lasts forever, but I've had them frozen 6 months, no problem. They get hard as a rock, and thawing them out and defrosting them is a good 2 days from the freezer into the cooler, refrigerator. But that's how I do it. I get a delivery, and I'll get maybe 10 boxes a week, and I'll take 2 of them, or I always keep some frozen because you never know. 1 week a truck will break down, you won't get a delivery, they'll be short, they'll send you the wrong stuff. So I always keep a freezer. I have 1 freezer dedicated to bladders, and they do last forever. I don't worry about rotating them when I take a frozen one out because, as Steve will attest, they get hard as a rock. So today in this formula, and if you want, we can, what the hell, it's almost Christmas. Mike, if you want to zero in, we'll give the whole world this formula. Are we good? Mike?
Give me a second.
Okay. So there were these 3 ballerinas who went on.
You can't tell that one.
What's your question?
Where do you get the bladders from?
Bladders come from dairies.
Okay.
And pretty much in this country, I've taught people from every state in the country, nobody's had a problem getting them. Sometimes there's a distance involved. So you would have to maybe allocate a freezer and get more at a one shot. In Florida, there are 2 dairies that produce it, one in South Florida and one on the west coast of Florida.
Okay, so not all dairies carry it, just...
No, not all dairies carry it, but they should, and many do because it's a high profit item for them. And it's universal. Are we done, Mike?
Yes, you're
Okay.
good.
And it's what was I saying?
Universal product.
Yeah.
High profit item.
Whatever. I
Jeff, we
forget.
have a list, not every dairy in the country, but we keep a list here at Emery Thompson, and we
Excellent.
send it out to people.
Excellent.
And oftentimes it may be that if you're in Sioux Falls, you might have to truck it in from St. Louis.
Correct.
So the shipping might be a little bit higher, but you just adjust your price to that. But it's, like you said, it's available everywhere.
Well, what he just said, I have a disagree. I wouldn't adjust my price because I don't want to price myself out of the range I'm comfortable with. And when I teach my class, I always teach them that the price for your product, yes, let's say you're in Nome, Alaska, and you can't find a dairy, and it costs you so much money. Would that necessitate raising your price per customer from $6 to $9? Not fair. Either get into a different business or make other arrangements or get a huge truckload and freeze them, but nobody's going to pay $9 for ice cream. And if they do, they're not going to like it. That's very important. When you make your prices, it has to be fair for you, but fair for them, for the customer. Very important. Okay, let's not proselytize, is that the word?
That's pretty good.
Okay. This formula on this card, it has 2 different recipes. It has one for a 24-quart machine and one for a 6-quart machine. We're using neither today. We're going to use a 12-quart machine. So, Guadalupe, what do we do?
Just adjust the recipe? Adjust the recipe?
Adapt the recipe. Perfect. So we'll take the 24-quart recipe and halve it, because we're in a, or we can take the 6-quart machine and, ooh, bright crowd. Ooh, I want to tell you, these guys are sharp, you know? All right, so we'll add 5 quarts of mix. Interestingly enough, when you do graduate to a 24-quart machine, which you will, whatever you start with, you'll end up with a 24. And interestingly enough, I made all my formulas so that the 24 takes 1 bladder. So no measuring, no muss, no fuss. Put a bladder in, you make an ice cream. Matter of fact, if you took a 24-quart machine, took 1 bladder, poured it in the machine, turned it on, and sat down and read a book, in 9 minutes you've got vanilla ice cream. It's as simple as that. Nobody does that because everybody wants exotics. Even yesterday when we made vanilla, we scraped vanilla beans into it. We added a little Tyranny vanilla. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to take your regular vanilla ice cream and you're going to doctor it a little, make silly things out of it. Hopefully silly things that sell. So we'll take, how many quarts? What a crowd. What a crowd. We'll take 5 quarts, which is half. What a crowd.
The alcohol from the last product hasn't kicked in yet.
That's right. That's right.
We're working on it.
Okay, we've got 5. These are resealable. So if you're on a 6-quart machine, you can use 1 bladder for 4 batches of ice cream, or 3 batches of ice cream, or 2 batches of ice cream.
Looks like you got a 5-quart line right on that container.
No, I have a line between 4 and 6, though.
Gotcha.
So that'll help. Let's see. Here's 4 quarts, here's 6 quarts. We're about in the middle. The reason that we're in this business is fourfold, and I'll give you this now. The first reason we're getting into this frozen dessert business, or this ice cream business, or ices business, is profit. The profit is ridiculous. It's stupid profit. The second reason is the one that I like to demonstrate here, and that's art. There's an art to this. You can, in my class, I give 100 recipes out, and when you take it home to Orlando, and you take it home to California, those recipes will be adapted. You'll change them a little.
Did you mean this class?
Yeah, but not February.
Not February.
The last class of the year
Ice cream boot camp.
is October, and that's the last one of the year.
Unlike my class here, Jeff has you hands-on. He'll have you washing the dishes, the sink, waxing his car, and making ice cream. So
No, I make
just
sure
throw
that-
that shameless plug in for you.
Thank you. I make sure that every single person who comes to the class, and there are several here, when they leave, and I guarantee it, and they'll tell you at the break, they will be able to make the world's best ice cream. No question. No question. Mark, can you make the world's best ice cream now?
Hands-on training.
Yeah, it's hands-on. The machine, everybody works with the bladders, with the formulas, recipe, but that's plug in that. I don't want to get into that. Okay. So, by the way, did you notice the difference in these tubs? It's pretty apparent. I guess I could just shoot this out, right?
Sure.
Okay. This is clear. This is frosted. This is more expensive. This is better. There's 2 types of plastic in the world, polystyrene and polypropylene. And one of them cracks, and this one cracks. I shouldn't tell you what. So get the frosted ones if you can. As I said, there's a big shortage going on in the world now of cups, supplies, and these things. So when I went to Restaurant Depot, today's Tuesday morning, yesterday morning, they were out of these, and they only had 24 of these. So I bought them all, of course, but the clear ones aren't as good. They'll crack sooner than the, do you know the difference? You look like you might know between polypropylene and polystyrene.
I mean, I don't know the chemical structure difference, but I know that polypropylene is a more durable product.
So this is probably polypropylene. This is probably polystyrene. God, thanks. 15 years and I never knew that. Okay, so the ingredients for this ice cream are the mix. I call this mix. Sugar, we've got 18 ounces of sugar. Pie filling, key lime pie filling. Key lime pie filling.
You just coming in? Yeah, good. Hi.
And these are generally, when you see a can this size, it's 22 ounces. Oh, key lime pie filling. Steve, this is a very quiet group.
They're intently listening to your every word.
No, they're not. Their eyes are half closed. They're glazed over. All
That
right,
was the
and then we
alcohol.
need some lime juice. We need half of 24 ounces, which is?
12.
Good, perfect. See, they're awake. 12 ounces. 12 ounces. Let's just add. That's probably good. Now, the adaptability of all recipes, what Steve gives you, Christi and me, you'll change them. You'll tweak them. After we put everything in the machine and we start it up, I'll taste it. If it's not what I want, I have 2-3 minutes to adapt it. And that may mean more sugar. And let's say it's too sweet. What do you think we should do? Add more mix. Perfect. Perfect. So there are ways to tweak it as you're going. The important thing is to write it down, what you're doing. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4 ingredients. So let's get rolling, okay? We'll add the mix to the machine. This is a challenge because I mistakenly poured it in a wide bucket, but we'll give it a shot. God, this guy is good, huh?
Yeah, very good. Not a drop.
As I teach in the class, the most important thing when you're making ice cream, very important, the most important thing, focus.
That's what we made before.
Don't be talking to your friends. Don't have a cell phone here while you're doing it because you'll forget something, you'll spill something, it'll be very bad. Now we'll fire it up so that we can mix up the other ingredients as we go along. I love it. All right, make sure we got all the goodies in there. We'll add some sugar. We'll add some, now with lemon or lime juice, I've learned through cooking and baking that you add it slowly because it'll tend, if you just dump it all in, I mean the machine will take care of mixing it, but it might coagulate part of the mix in there, dairy and tart or acid, that's basically acid. So we'll add the other stuff and then we'll drizzle that in. It's all crazy.
You need a smaller spoon?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
I'll be right back.
There's one right here, a black one, right there on the center shelf. Center shelf left.
Shelf left.
There we go. Thank you. Hold it.
And they said I was a good for nothing.
Who said that?
I don't know. My mother.
Never, not a chance. All right, we'll add the rest of this. Don't feel free to ask questions with my back turned to it. It's okay.
So you're pretty much always using cane sugar when you're adding sugar. Do you ever use different kinds of sugar?
I use brown sugar.
Okay.
Who said that? Yeah.
I did.
Jamie, right?
Correct.
I use brown sugar if the recipe calls for it. And usually that's in stuff like pumpkin, maple walnut. When you're making those, probably fall flavors or whatever. I don't know why, but brown sugar is very good, very effective in what we're doing. Gives you a, well, brown sugar is maple syrup plus sugar, right? Is that right? Molasses, right. Slow as molasses.
Yeah.
I guess because when you, it's...
Start using that one more instead of drizzle.
All right, so now we have most of the ingredients in, and we're going to add the lemon juice. I'm sorry, it's not lemon juice. I use Key West lime juice, just because. And now we'll add this. At home, I make my own mayonnaise, and I have to add lemon juice to the egg yolks. You have to do it so slowly over the food processor, otherwise you're going to get, lumps, coagulation. All right, so now we have all our 4 ingredients, mixed sugar, pie filling, and lime juice in there, and now Steve would have turned it on already, but I just want to taste it. I want to make sure that it's what I want. Woo! Okay, that's great. So we'll turn it on, and now we've wasted 3 minutes, right? Because I could have turned it on 3 minutes ago, but that's okay. I got nothing but time. In your store, you might want to consider selling pies, ice cream pies. Ice cream cakes don't interest me because they take so long to make and you have to charge so much. People are charging $30 to $50 for ice cream cakes. I just don't want to do that. But pies, in the supermarket, Walmart, supermarket, you can buy pie shells. They have them in graham cracker, this is chocolate, and they have them in Oreo, and they used to be 99 cents. Now they're $1.99. Okay, so be it. But the great thing is, you take this comes out, and you take this out, and we're going to fill it with key lime. We're going to sell key lime pies in our ice cream store. And in my other store, we had a freezer with 60 or 80 pies in there, all different flavors. And we sold them for $10. And for $10, some people even would buy them, sit down with a few people and eat it right there. But it's a cool thing, and if you want to go to somebody's house or whatever, and you want to bring them something, a nice fresh ice cream pie is great. And it's so simple. You'll see, we're going to make one. Yes, sir.
Quick man story about pies.
Okay.
This is for the women. You
Okay.
and I know this because we're men and we were born knowing this. But the beauty of a pie, here's, let's say that's a pint container. It's a little small, but if that was a pint container, pints are great sales, and we'll talk about them later today. But they only last about a day and a half. But and so if you wait till your wife goes to bed at 11 o'clock at night and then you sneak in and start hitting the pint, it's going to show. But the pie, you serve it for dinner and you're making slices and all that. But we men come in at 11 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning, and you can take off a quarter of an inch, a half inch of that pie, and nobody's ever going to know. And then tomorrow night you can do the same thing. Isn't that true? We do it. And then the next night you can take another ½ inch, and nobody ever notices. So we're getting the great mileage out of this pie. We're really getting our money's worth out of it. And then when it gets down to the last piece and your wife says, well, where'd all the pie go? Oh, I don't know, honey. You've been eating it for dessert every night. So it's more than just value here. There is intrinsic value of it lasting so long.
Oh, hell, it's good profit. That's all.
What did you say you charge for
good
it?
prop, $10.
10.
I know.
Wow, I've been
Cheap,
telling
right?
people 20.
I know. $10. See, but I remember fair.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody spending $18, $15 on a pie. It's not fair. You're going to get 6 slices out of it. You're going to bring it to somebody. You're going to have it at dinner for the kids or whatever. $10 is fine. I'm making money. You're happy. It's a win-win.
It really is a great product because it's the perceived notion that you are really getting your value for it because it lasts so long.
Any questions? Yes, sir. Boy, you should have sat way up front with all these questions.
Should we open the refrigeration?
Why? Why do I do that?
No. We should open it directly when we put ingredients or no?
What?
Should we open the refrigeration directly when we mix, or we can mix 2 minutes, then we open the cooler?
You mean this top part here? Oh, this? Well, I'm sorry, that's the refrigeration. This is just mixing it when you put it on here. You can have that on for a week, nothing's going to happen. This will make the cylinder freeze up with ice cream, and that's when you'll have ice cream. We're in the middle of the journey now before we put this on and when the ice cream's ready. Now that's a good point you bring up. When is the ice cream ready? It's ready different when he makes it and I make it. It's ready when you make it, but not ready when you make it. When you pull it, when you shut this off and pull the ice cream, depends on you. You have a window, probably a minute and a half.
Minute and a half most.
Yeah, between when it would be okay, soft, and okay, firm. I always do it okay, soft. Steve does it okay, medium to firm. It's just your call. Won't affect anything. It probably does. No? Probably scientifically it does.
No.
Steve, while we're talking about hardness and temperatures, could we go over at what temperature to store different products and at what temperature to serve different products? I see you've got it here with Italian ice to scoop at 16 degrees and store at 0 to 10. What would it be for cream ice cream and gelato?
Okay.
Sure, we can do that. Let me know when you're ready to pull that, Jeff, and I'll help you. Ice cream first. We scoop ice cream at 6 degrees Fahrenheit. Everything's Fahrenheit. You'd have to do the conversion if you're Celsius. Everything 6 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's pretend I've got it. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a chest freezer behind me. Let's say this is my serving cabinet where I'm serving the ice cream. This is wrapped. This is important to know about that 6 degrees. This is wrapped in aluminum tubing all the way around as a source of cold. So as I stand here, this overall box is 6 degrees. But it's not all even 6 degrees. Over here, the container is getting refrigeration on this side and this side. So this 6 degrees isn't 6, it's more like 4. So what that means to you in overall temperature, what's the temperature you serve ice cream? My question would be, what flavor are you running? Because the higher the sugar content, the softer the product will be. You've gone into some stores and you see the server scooping one product nicely and then you add a double scoop, and this one over here, they're struggling with it. They shouldn't be struggling with it. If you know that the more sugar, the softer it is, and this is a colder corner than where I am here, that will tell you, put your flavors that tend to run hard, vanilla, coffee, chocolate, products that don't have a lot of extra sugar in them. Put them in the center of the cabinet here, and put your fruity flavors, strawberry, salt and caramel, put them in the corners. Now everything will scoop the same. But in general here, 6 degrees. Out of the machine, roughly 20 to 23 degrees Fahrenheit, but we're not measuring it, we're eyeballing it. It's so much easier. So we're going to take that and we're going to take it down how cold? As cold as we can go. The colder the better, because that's going to be our inventory. Everything will take at least 8 or 10 hours to freeze down solid, but a specialty freezer, a flash freezer, will do it colder and quicker. A walk-in freezer is ideal because, not because, well, it's great because you don't have to go quite as cold. A vertical freezer, we want 30 below. A walk-in freezer, we can do 15 below because we're opening the door, going in, and closing the door behind us, and we're putting the ice creams up on the racks. When you call me back in a few years and say, oh, business has quadrupled, I need another batch freezer, my answer is going to be, no you don't. You need more freezer space. Just like the movie Fantasia, where Mickey Mouse is sweeping the water and he can't get rid of it fast enough. Once you fill up your freezers, you can't make any more ice cream or ices because you have no place to put it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so in the future, when you say I need a bigger batch freezer, I'm going to say, no, you need more freezer space. You need more place to put your inventory. Italian ices, we scoop at 16 degrees and store it. It can be 0 because it's not that hard to freeze.
Gelato and cream ice?
Cream ice is the same as Italian ice, and gelato is going to be the same as ice cream. The Italians never used to freeze their ice cream until I wrote an article years ago and said, you guys are throwing out a ton of inventory every single day because you don't freeze your ice cream. Now all the Italian manufacturers recommend, oh yeah, put your ice cream in a freezer cabinet, a hardening cabinet, so that you build up an inventory. I mean, it would be like me buying one sheet of steel today to make a batch freezer and then waiting till tomorrow to buy another sheet. I want an inventory. I get 2 truckloads a week, and that way I have an inventory. You want an inventory of your frozen desserts.
All right, we're ready to make pies. Now, when you're doing pies, you're making ice cream, and then just wrap off a couple of pies, put them in the freezer, and label them and sell them. Label them, I put a piece of masking tape on the top, and I write key lime on it. But this is making a pie now. We just take this,
Isn't that easy?
and there's a pie. I was a little messy, but... And put the top on it. Put a piece of tape on it, key lime pie, with today's date, and put it in the freezer, and you're good to go.
Who knew you'd be in the pie business? It's that easy.
Well, $10 a shot, and I mean, it's easy to sell, I don't know, 5 or 6 pies a day, because once they have your ice cream and they like it, on the way out, you tell them, how about taking a pie home? And it's $10. It's kind of an easy sell. Feel how heavy that one is?
Yeah.
Very dense, very thick.
If you're ever wondering what to sell your product for, do it like real estate. You go to sell your house and you've got some crazy, I was going to say crazy ass, some crazy idea of what your house is worth, and the real estate agent's going to say, well, we're going to check the comps. We're going to find out what your neighbors sold for. And yes, you have a wonderful house, so maybe we'll go up 10,000 from what the comparables are in your neighborhood. But it gives you an idea. I had a guy, he was selling ice at small parks for 75 cents, and then all of a sudden he does the Florida State Fair, and he was a genius. He said, Pepsi's, want to take over?
Yes.
Pepsi's are selling for $3.50. And he figures Pepsi is a mega corporation. They've got people on the staff who can figure out how much you can get at the Florida State Fair, how much you can get at a kiosk in Westchester County. They do all this figuring. All I have to do is go find out how much a Pepsi is and charge maybe 20% more because my product is better than a Pepsi. So if you want to know the actual price of these pies, go to the supermarket and see what Publix here in Florida is charging for a key lime pie. It'll set your price for you, and I'll bet you it's going to be higher. It'll certainly be higher if you compare it to comparable to you, which would be a pastry shop. But that will give you a good idea. So if you have no clue of what to charge, just go look around. Don't go to your neighbors, but go to comparable products, and you'll get your answer. Because somebody has spent a lot of time thinking about that. And we don't want to spend time thinking about it. We want to make money. How is it?
Definitely a key lime pie.
Tastes like key lime?
Mm-hmm. Very tart.
Oh, good. I love key lime.
I need 3 more, if I remember right.
Oh, put that right in the freezer. We're not going to serve it. It's too good.
And this lends itself to a pie because it's key lime pie ice cream. We also make, I think we made it this week, we made cherry cheesecake, right? Yeah. And cherry cheesecake lends itself to a pie. You're making a cherry cheesecake pie or any flavored cheesecake. We made cherry, but you can make blueberry cheesecake. I make a really good turtle cheesecake, which is a cheesecake ice cream with a ribbon of caramel and a ribbon of fudge. So it's turtle cheesecake. Why do they call caramel and chocolate turtle? What's that all about? Turtle. What do you think, Steve?
I didn't hear you, Jeff. Sorry.
Okay, it's just as well.
You don't mind grabbing one from the top? You don't want any? Okay.
Why do they call caramel and chocolate
You grab
turtle?
one off the side of that.
Because
Here we go.
Oh, because I'm much older than you, I guess, or at least my father used to bring home a treat that came in a little plastic bag, and there were 2 of them, and they called chocolate turtles, and they were in the shape of a turtle. They weren't really going for the shape, but they looked like it.
Okay, that's good because when you buy turtles at a place that makes candy, the chocolate, they do look like, well, they look close to it. They
Close to it. They kind of have, it's like they spilled something.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
But we used to love those things. I have a question for you from the last flavor that we made, if you remember it. Any changes, any improvements? Anybody have any ideas? Would you do something different on the formula? Any ideas?
With this?
No, the last one. I have an opinion on this. That's why I'm asking. Anybody on that Italian ice? Okay. Can we ask the question about your product?
Yeah.
What would you change on this? Anything?
I put lemon zest in it.
Excuse me?
I zest lemons into it, limes.
Yeah, that's.
graham cracker to it.
I like the graham cracker idea. I think it needs a little more key lime flavor, something more lemon, maybe a little more key lime juice.
What are you looking at me for?
It's your formula.
And I'm going to keep it the way it is.
I know, but that's what we're doing is we're critiquing. The graham cracker is a good idea because the crusts are always graham cracker, and that might give it a little crunch. But it is good. I mean, it's better than good. It's great. Now, normally, as I said before, we would plan our production so that we don't have to keep rinsing out the machine. So you could go from this one with just one rinse like this, since we don't have any chocolate in here or any candies or nuts. We're always worried about nuts. We could go to just about any other flavor we want because any residual flavor is just going to be a hint of lemon in there. And so we don't have to go crazy rinsing it out. So you want to look at, and so you basically you don't want to go from chocolate ice cream to vanilla. And you want to make anything with peanuts as the last flavor of the day because you just can't risk the peanut allergies.
Do you always add your ingredients at the beginning? Do you ever add stuff like right at the end to try to change the texture or keep something from being so ground up fine or anything?
Okay, the question was about when to put in ingredients. I came up with a long time ago 2 terms, fruit flavor and fruit identity, and I use them for everything. So let's use fruit flavor and fruit identity for Oreo cookie. I was teaching a gentleman in Latin America last night about this. If I make Oreo cookie ice cream, I'm going to throw 1 bag of Oreo cookies into the machine. The machine's going to grind it up like a Cuisinart, and unlike any commercial ice cream or any of your competitors who don't have an Emery Thompson, for every particle of dairy, there's going to be a particle of Oreo cookie right next to it. So if you are blindfolded and you taste it, you say, yeah, that's Oreo cookie. I can really taste the Oreo. You take the blindfold off, and it's this nice rich brown color, but you also eat with your eyes, and you say, where are the pieces? I don't see any cookies. So I'm going to take each cookie, and I'm going to individually, while the ice cream is being made, I'm going to snap them between my thumbs and break them into approximately 4 pieces. So I'm going to have a little bucket of 4 pieces. So when the ice cream's ready, I've got my flavor, my fruit flavor, the Oreo cookie, already in the machine. But instead of opening the gate wide like that, I'm going to open it just halfway to slow it down a little bit, and I'm going to shake in my pieces of cookie. So now I've got the flavor of the Oreo, and I've got the pieces of cookie that I can see and crunch and taste. So it gives you a much better ice cream. I put Haagen-Dazs in business back in the late 60s, early 70s. I was about 22 years old in 72, and I was meeting with Reuben Mattis. Reuben Mattis and his mother started Haagen-Dazs in the Bronx near our factory. And that's what his ice cream was that design. He thought of it before I did. And that's what made his ice cream so great. Then when he went worldwide, he had to go to $1 million machines, which it's called a continuous freezer, and all they do is make vanilla all day long. They can't put anything into the machine except an extract. So they'll have an Oreo cookie extract ramming through this 1,000-gallon-an-hour machine, and at the end is a $40,000 piece of equipment called a fruit feeder, and it injects cookies into the ice cream. It looks like Oreo cookie ice cream. Doesn't have that rich brown color that we have, but it looks like Oreo cookie. But it is only vanilla ice cream surrounded by cookies. Your ice cream has got Oreos in every bite plus the pieces. So we make a far better ice cream than anybody else can. No other batch freezer on the market, it is a shameless plug. No other batch freezer on the market can you put whole bags of cookies in. Their beaters, or what we call the dasher, isn't strong enough, and they don't want to boost it up. So what they do is they make the opening, instead of like that, they make it about a quarter to a half inch wide, so you could not get a cookie in there if you wanted to. So we're going to be ready to go on to the next flavor, but everybody want to take a bathroom break for 10 minutes? Get up and stretch around? Good idea? Okay. I'll let you stretch. I'll ask that you not congregate up here. You're welcome to come up and look around, but we're trying to, Paula just had her best friend who's over in Israel, and she just called up and has canceled her trip to the United States next week because her son, daughter-in-law, and child have the COVID in Miami, and they have gotten the shots. And this is it's getting weird. So anyway, I'll jump up and walk around for 10 minutes. We'll be back. Here we go. Hi, I'm Steve Thompson, president of Emery Thompson Machine, and this is one of our ongoing videos of Make It Fresh. Christi Brown, our sales manager, and today we're going to make lemon cake ice cream with lemons, strawberries, and poppy seeds. And real lemon cake. It was all we could do not to eat the cake last night, but we held off so we could put it into the ice cream today. I'm going to pass out, we have a nice crowd here today, and I'm going to pass out the formula to them. Those of you watching this at emerythompson.com or on YouTube, our 441 how to make videos, you'll see the formulas there. So let me pass this around to the audience. And we'll get going. Again, we're going to use all fresh ingredients. We're going to use 4 quarts of dairy mix, dairy blend, which is milk, cream, sugar, skim milk. We're going to use lemon cake, poppy seeds, vanilla extract, a couple of fresh squeezed lemons, and we're going to throw in some frozen strawberries just because we think that goes along nicely with it. And we're going to run this on the 12-quart Emery Thompson machine. So we're going to make one full tub equal to one of these in about 8 minutes. The next size up makes 2 of these in 8 minutes, and the one next to it, the CB, the countertop, makes half a tub in 8 minutes. So which one you buy depends on your volume and what can you afford. The smaller machine is going to cost less than a bigger one.
Really?
And our prices are at our website, so you can look at the current price and see exactly what you'll pay for it. So we've got the mix. Lemon cake, you've got vanilla extract. I'll measure out the vanilla extract.
I did.
Oh, you
Sorry.
did already. Okay, excellent.
But you can still talk about it. I can get you the bottle.
That's all right. I'll start pouring this
Okay.
in.
Now remember, Steve, I didn't spill a drop.
I didn't either.
Jeff,
For the
I'm
record.
blind in one eye.
Oh, the excuses start before pulling it? Look at that. There's a man who's had some experience. Pressure was on and he came right through.
It comes from years of drinking beer. I found that if you keep the bottle too close to your mouth, it's going to spill all over your shirt.
Right. Same with pouring, by the way. When you're pouring stuff in your machine higher,
Yeah.
it'll create a thinner stream.
Yeah, if you put it down here, it's going to
gonna
spill.
spill.
But if you get up here, not a problem.
Yeah, thinner stream.
You want to do your lemons?
Yes. I'm going to throw in the extract.
Okay.
This is 4 ounces of vanilla extract. Just pour that in. Christi said to mention what it is. She's right. This is Lockhead Vanilla. It's a company that specializes in vanilla and specializes also in vanilla for ice cream. It's spelled Lochhead, Lockhead, and this is a all-natural vanilla. It's called Flavor 103A. I don't expect you to remember that it's Flavor 103A or that it's Lockhead, but if you want to call me, Steve Thompson, you can email me, steve@emerythompson.com, Christi at emerythompson.com, or our phone number, which is at the start and end of this videotape, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Okay, now the lemons. This is Paula's lemon squeezer, and I was told to be very careful with it. It's hard for me to work.
The other way, the other way.
What do you say? No, that's right. I don't think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I promise.
These newfangled things.
Oh, ho. Why don't you do it in this bucket and then pour it in?
Oh, because that was going to be easier. All right. Where do you plug this in?
I'm sorry, we do things manually here.
Oh, gee. Okay. Frisbees.
If you did it the other way, you'd be wearing lemon juice now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. This is why I don't cook. Oh, you better put it down. It gives me a better target.
And also, when you're
Isn't
done
this
with,
fun watching the chairman of the board squeeze lemons?
when you're
I
done
mean,
with
really,
that
this
squeeze,
is
you can
my,
simply rotate it and get some more out of it,
This is my calling.
or not.
Just let them squeeze the
You're
lemons.
right.
Squeeze and go. So this recipe came from my mother. Actually makes a fantastic lemon poppy seed cake. So she takes a sheet cake and she makes a lemon poppy seed cake. She cuts that in half, then she layers it with Cool Whip and some very thinly sliced strawberries, and then she'll put the sheet cake back on top. And it is so amazing. So why not make it ice cream? So you don't have to, sit and ponder all the time. How am I going to come up with ice cream flavors? Think of a cake your mom makes or a dessert that you truly love. Possibilities are really endless.
Boy, not my mother.
Too many hockey pucks.
My mother could not cook. She used to make hamburgers. We called them bullet burgers. If you threw
oughta-
it against the wall, put a hole in it like that.
You ought to turn that on so that the lemon juice doesn't coagulate the milk.
I'll go one better. You said slow speed, so I'm just going to hit the infinite overrun and take it way down. How about that? 100 RPMs. So I'll just let it mix like that. Good point, because it does
You want me to
coagulate.
start shoving cake?
Sure. And let's see, lemon, vanilla, poppy seeds, and lemon cake. And the strawberries. I'll measure out the strawberries. Pretty simple stuff.
So Steve, overrun is the amount of air that's added to the ice cream?
Yes.
And you call this an infinite overrun. What does that mean exactly?
That means that I have the only machine in the world that you can adjust the air content through the entire range of frozen desserts that exist today or ever will. Nobody's ever done it before. I did it 22 years ago. I invented this, and nobody's ever copied it. When you have your dining room and you've got the lights up on full and you want to have a nice quiet dinner with your wife, you use a rheostat or a light dimmer, and you dim down the lights to, instead of 100 watts, down to maybe 25 watts. And it's a nice, cozy atmosphere. When you dim down those lights, you're robbing the light bulb of the power. It's no longer a 100-watt bulb, it's a 25-watt bulb or a 15-watt bulb. If you did that with a motor, we're starting with a liquid that is going to end up as a semi-solid. If I take this machine, a 3-horsepower motor, and use a rheostat or light dimmer, it's now a half-horse, and it's only going to get partway through the system, the batch, before it just shuts down. Not enough horsepower. My application, I am able to dim it down without losing the pulling power, or what they call torque. So I've got the same pulling power at 100 RPMs, and we don't run at 100 RPMs, as I do at 234 RPMs. And that's the invention.
You know me.
And nobody's copied it. So it allows us, other people sell a gelato machine, others sell an Italian ice machine, others sell a hard ice cream machine. They only do one thing. They advertise that they're 2-speed. Well, 1 speed is what the machine freezes at, and the 2nd speed is nothing but washout. If you want washout on this machine, just turn off the refrigeration switch. But as far as being able to make any product on earth or anything that comes along, we didn't know anything 4 years about dairy-free ice cream. And so through my experimenting, I figured out that it works best at super premium. And the RPM range doesn't matter, but I'm throwing out a number, it's 160. So I have a setting on the machine that says dairy-free, and it just takes it to 160. So you're always going to have a perfect product every time. And
Oversimplification to say that the lower the RPM, the less air?
yes, absolutely. But lowering the air doesn't necessarily make it a better product. It just makes it heavier. Ice cream, I have this battle with customers and myself all the time. A good balanced ice cream consists of air, which is overrun, fat content, and flavor. I did an ice cream once back in the Bronx for Al Pachenik. He was chairman of the board of Godiva Chocolate. And he heard that the highest in New York was 16% fat. He came in with a 22% butterfat ice cream chocolate.
For the strawberries.
And we made it, and it made everybody, including the stray cat, sick. Killed the stray cat. But it was just too much. It was more fat than you could take. So more is not always better. Let me just measure this out for Christi.
That was a lot of fun putting those cakes in there.
Oh, I'll bet. Don't try that with another machine. You can't do it.
No.
Oh, don't be shy. Put in more.
It's not the primary flavor.
It's
Okay.
a strawberry lemon pie.
Yeah, we don't want to overwhelm it.
Okay.
So that goes in. So you've got the fat content, which is according to what sells in your area. If I, yes. If I was up in New York and Jeff had a store selling 14% butterfat ice cream, I would sell 16. Not because it's any better, but I want the bragging rights of I'm the richest damn ice cream in Manhattan. That's not a good reason. Then there's the air content. I can give you homemade ice cream, which is what Jeff and I make, or I can take it down to super premium, or I can take it down to gelato. I can take it all the way down to frozen custard. Frozen custard is going to be very dense. It's delicious, but if you eat a large portion of it, you'll be so full, it'll be like going to your favorite Italian restaurant where you go once a month and you overeat. You eat all the pasta, all the garlic bread, all the desserts, and then you walk out of there and say, oh, that Luigi's makes me feel awful. Ergo, I'm not going back to Luigi's for another month. Well, we don't want you to go away for a month. We want you to walk out and say, man, that ice cream at Jeff's was so good, I think I'll go back and get a second one. So it's a balance of fat, air, and then the most important of all, because the other two don't mean anything, nobody walks into a store or walks out of a store and says, you know what, Christi, that was the best air content I ever ate. Or I turn to my wife Paula and say, I can't wait to come back tomorrow. I just love their fat content. People say that mint chip was really minty in flavor, and the chocolate chips weren't chalky. Cheap chopped chocolate chips are not good for ice cream. So the flavor is the most important thing. So that's why I ask you, how did we do on this flavor? And we might come back and say, yeah, Jeff was right, it needed more strawberries. But we think the predominant flavor is lemon, so maybe it needed more lemons. We'll find out. But people eat flavor. That's the most important thing. Everything else is peripheral. You balance it to what your personal taste is and what the market likes. I like to have my pints of ice cream to be very dense so they last longer. So I might take my normal recipe and lower this down in the air content just for pints. The customer isn't going to know why it's so dense. They're just going to say, oh, it's just as delicious as I remember in the store, even though they're two different air contents. We're all in and running?
Yep.
Okay.
I put poppy seeds in. I don't know if I put a lot, but
Okay. We tend to leave things out sometimes. So we got the dairy blend, the large lemon cake, or
Yep.
lemon cakes, poppy seeds, vanilla extract, fresh squeezed lemons, and frozen strawberries.
correct.
That's it. Explaining the term, if you haven't heard it before, overrun. That's very confusing. We use that term when we're talking about air. Think of proof. We'll forget overrun for a minute, we'll call it proof. If this was an 80 proof rum, it would be, technically, proof would mean it's 40% alcohol and 40% other stuff. So that's 80 proof. We can take that term proof and put it into ice cream. If I'm making a 80 proof ice cream, it's 40% dairy and 40% air to equal 80 proof. We just get rid of the term proof and put in overrun. So 80% overrun is 40% dairy and 40% air. And it's really that simple. So we have a machine that will do any air content that you want. And I think you'll probably find that most of your products you'll end up doing super premium or homemade. The other thing about that, let me go over here. When you're pricing your product, I like to price what the market will bear. Jeff calls it what's fair and equitable, and I think they're the same term. But if you're using a round tub, and the round tubs are great, they've been used for years, lots of people use them, but if you've got this tub, you're scooping from here, and that's difficult. And the customer, if it's a glass display cabinet, which I don't use, the customer is seeing this, and you're having to shave down the sides and do a lot to maintain it. When you scoop ice cream, all the strength is in your bicep. Never get in a fight with someone who scoops ice cream for a living because they got a right hook that'll kill you. But we're scooping like this. We're using the bicep. But as we do that, we're compressing the ice cream. So if you did 100 proof ice cream, by the time you scoop it, it's down to 75 or 80. We've knocked that much air out of it. I kind of like these in a lot of applications. That's called a gelato pan. And usually it comes with a it's meant for this. It's meant to be in a stainless steel pan like that. That might be 80 bucks. I don't want to buy $180 pans, but that's a liner, and that just drops in, made by gelatosupply.com. I don't even use this. I like these. I can use them 3, 4, 5 times. And the scooping action is like this. Using the bicep, it's from north to south. So it's very easy to scoop. It's not going to fill up on the sides. It's really handy. And the best thing about it is if you get into wholesale, and you talk to an executive chef, he's used to Haagen-Dazs, my customer. The Haagen-Dazs salesman is all the same. He's 6'4". He graduated top on the football team, and he has a huge ego. And Haagen-Dazs just made it bigger by just saying, "Oh, well, we're Haagen-Dazs. Why wouldn't you want to buy us, chef?" The problem is, let's say this room here where we're in is our restaurant. There's an old expression that didn't mean anything to me for years. The money's made at the tables, not in the kitchen. In other words, we're in the kitchen. The owner has tables out there, and now the landlord comes and raises the rate on the whole restaurant. What do? Our solution is get more people in. So we say to the chef, "I'm sorry, we're shrinking your kitchen from here to here." And we can add now 10 more tables. And that's what restaurants are doing. So the chef, Haagen-Dazs, comes in and says, "We deliver 10 tubs every 2 weeks, and that's our minimum order." Well, 10 of these in his freezer in this now shrunk kitchen, where's he going to put the chickens and the vegetables and the steaks? He's losing his space. You come along, there's 1 tub. That's how much space it takes up. I can put in just a little over that tub, 1, 2, and then 2 more, 3, 4 of these rectangular pans in just not much more space than 1 of these. So now I can give the chef a whole lot of variety without taking up a lot of room in his freezer. And it's an odd way of looking at business, but if you can solve the chef's problem before you even walk in, he knows what his problem is. He can't take 10 tubs, but he could take about 6 of these gelato pans and be happy as could be. So it's a good thing to keep in mind is, and Jeff uses the Cambro, which is excellent. Are these the ones that you use, Jeff?
Yeah.
Look how much smaller that is than a 2.5 gallon tub. Something like this is ideal for the CB350 or even Jeff's size machine. How much time do we have in there?
That timer started when.
Oh, okay. So these are a great idea that Jeff uses because it's a smaller quantity. The customer looks at it as it's fresher. They're not always having to shave down the sides of a big, huge tub, and it's just great. Now, Jeff serves from chest freezers. I use a dipping cabinet, but you have the visual display cabinet. That's the one that's glass and you can see in. And everything about Americans is fast. We've got to have it fast. When they came out with nitrogen ice cream, I knew it was a failure.
Oh, we can pull it now.
It was a partial success because it was fun for 6 minutes to watch them make your ice cream. And you'd bring a relative in Chicago and say, "Come on, I'm going to show you how it's made." Ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Refrigeration's off. Oh, that looks beautiful.
Can I have another pan?
You need another? Yeah.
Please.
Big or small?
Probably a bigger one.
Quick.
We got time.
Chop, chop. I'm just kidding.
Forget big or small, just quick.
With the visual display cabinet, you're going to slow down the crowd, and nobody wants that. When they did Thai pan ice cream, where you mix it like Benihana, 6 minutes. 10 people in line. 10 people is not a lot of people in line. 60 minutes. That's how long it takes for you, the 10th person. No American's going to wait 60 minutes. You have the same thing with the, I call it the freeze-dried ice cream or the nitrogen ice cream. It takes 6 minutes and 23 seconds. This is what I do at night. I have no life. I time videos. 6 minutes and 23 seconds for 1 serving. It was a lot of fun to watch. But 3 years from now, 5 years from now, even 4 months from now, nobody cares. They just want my ice cream. And 10 people, 60 minutes? No, I'm going somewhere else.
That's when they started closing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, almost everywhere closed. Well, they don't have business.
My customers were through the roof during the COVID, up 40, 50, 60% at the height of the COVID. Because I wrote articles and said, you've got to stop touching the ice cream like pizzas. They started doing ads where all you see is the box and being handed with no hands. You got to stop touching the product, put it in pints. And we're selling pints $7, $8, $9. and you'll always buy two, one for you and one for your spouse, or one for you and one for your friend, but you'll always buy two. You don't care what the cost is. I want that ice cream. I want my mint chip, and I better bring home a coconut for Paula or I'm dead meat. So you're going to spend $8 a pint, $16, not even think about it. And that's what saved them. I mean, the sales numbers were huge. Last year was I think I mentioned it earlier, last year was our biggest year in 116 years, and this year is double that. And a lot of it is attributed to selling pints. Just running in, grabbing, and not hand packing, pre-package at the machine, slow down the speed, fill it up, put a cap on it, put it in the freezer. So how does this taste?
Good. Like a lemon strawberry poppy seed cake.
I'm going to give it a quick taste. Don't go away.
No? Okay.
Oh, that's good. Definitely lemon.
Okay. I know, it's a lot.
Now,
to
I
digest,
personally
isn't
would
it?
put in a little more lemon juice to make it a little more tart.
Well, she didn't make the cake.
Oh, and yeah, you've got the formula. We're going to take a break now. And we're not going to take a break. We're going to do questions answered.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to work on rinsing this.
Okay.
Thick
Well,
product.
We had to move a few things around. And so our next flavor will be after lunch,
Okay.
and that'll be you.
Okay.
Any questions so far?
So once the pints, so you just said slow down the speed and then fill up.
Yes, and fill up the pints and then freeze them down rock solid because you want people to be able to drive them home.
Yes.
And so if you freeze it down to 10, 15 below, it won't thaw for 40 minutes, and so they can drive them home. I came up with a plan based on Florida and owning 2 golden retrievers. So Paula calls me Friday afternoon and says, you got to bring home some ice cream. The Thompsons are coming for dinner. And, you know, men just don't like to be bothered with anything, especially not shopping. I mean, forget about it. I'm going to go stand in Publix line for 2 pints of ice cream and it's melting as I halfway walk out the place. So what I suggest is here's the front door. Where I am is the beginning of the store. I would have an upright, if you can afford it, an upright glass case. True makes one, other companies make them, set to 10 below, and it'll be loaded with pints of ice cream. Now I walk in, and I know your setup, so I leave my 2 Goldens in the car with the engine running, the air conditioning running, because I know I'm only going to be 45 seconds. Close the door, lock the door, engine's running, the dogs are happy. I walk in, I grab my mint chip, Paula's coconut, I put them on the counter, and there's nobody there. There's just a sign that says pint. The server over here is working a line, and the server says, excuse me one second, I'll be right back. Okay, would you like a receipt for that? No. Would you like a bag? No. Just slide your card. I slide my card, I take my pints, 43 seconds, I'm back in my car with the golden retrievers heading home. No lines, no nothing. Frozen rock solid, I couldn't scoop it with a hammer and chisel, and I'm gone, and the store just made $16. Now, the server over here, if this was even 5 years ago, the line would be going, hey, did you see what the server did? That server, he came in, he cut in line, he cut in front of me, I'm third in line, and he cut in front. Nah, it doesn't happen anymore. Now what they say is, hey, did you see that guy come in and just grab 2 pints and out of here in 40 seconds? I've got the Thompsons coming next Tuesday for dinner. I could have Steve stop in Monday night, grab a couple of pints and bring them home because Steve doesn't like to do shopping. And that's the reaction that you get. And those pints took us through COVID because we were running them out to the parking lot. Some of the younger millennials had it on their phones so that you could text in your flavors, pay for it with your credit card, and you just walk up to the window and say number 43, and they just hand it to you. No touchy-feely, no people. The impression is nobody has touched my ice cream. It's in a package. Little trick for you, and then we're going to do what we call questions answered. When you fill that pint, this is an old timer's trick, and I qualify. You fill it at the machine, and you put the lid on it, and then you turn it upside down in your freezer, because now the ice cream is going to fall to the top. Here's the top. Down here. It's going to fall to the top. So when you take it home and you open it up, it's perfectly even and level. I showed the other day one of my favorite ice creams, Bluebell. We put them in business in 1910. And you scoop into the Bluebell, and there in the half gallon, there's a hole in it because the machine can't fill perfectly. But they knew to fill it like that. So when I got it, it was full to the top. It was beautiful. If I hit that hole, my scoop is going to collapse it anyway. And it was sold by weight. So it didn't matter, there was a hole in the ice cream. But that's a little trick. Turn your pints, quarts, whatever you're doing, upside down. Don't sell quarts, don't sell half gallons. That is, and don't sell gallons. That's traditional ice cream parlor stuff. We're not traditional. Because I'm getting $8 for this pint of ice cream, which is only going to last a day and a half. It's going to get home. I'm going to have a little when I get home at 5:30. I'm going to have some with dinner with Paula, and at 11 o'clock at night, I'm stealing another scoop. It'll be gone in a day and a half, and we'll be buying more. But you don't want to sell larger because Paula said stop and get ice cream. I bought $8. I bought another $8. I don't care what the price is. I'm a guy. My job is to pick up the ice cream and bring it home. Now, if that was a half gallon, that's times 8 times 4. That's $32. Even Bill Gates would turn down a 18-karat gold case for his iPhone, and he's sure as hell not going to pay $32 for ice cream. The brain won't let you. It's too much money. But 8 and 8, sure, no problem. And we know Jeff's coming over too, so I better get a third one. You know, I don't worry about the price because it's what I want. The quality is what I want. The quality is unbelievable. Best ice cream I can ever get. And the size is just right. So we're going to move some stuff out here, and we're going to bring in some chairs, and we're going to do a segment called Questions Answered, and then we're going to feed you lunch. And then we'll make more. And I wanted to try, we're going to take all your questions. I also wanted to talk about the cost of opening a store. And this is all on Jeff, because when I first met Jeff, I was doing stores that cost $150,000, $175,000, $200,000 for a store. Oh, you want to get in the ice cream business? Great. Just go down to the bank. Banks actually loaned money back then. Can you imagine? What a concept. They don't do it anymore. But we would get a loan for $170,000, put down $5,000, and we'd go build a store. Jeff comes along, and he's got 72 square feet of store, and he's making a killing. And when he sold it, I think it was about 3,500 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, from 72, which is about from here to there.
Well,
you know,
8 feet by 7 feet.
Yeah, it's real small. And ended up with 3,500 square feet because his concept was, I don't need 3,500 square feet right now. I can't afford 3,500 square feet. What do I need with all this equipment when I'm only selling a limited number of flavors and I'm selling out every day? So I have to admit, I have adopted that theory, and with my CB350 countertop, I have put thousands. I've got over 36,500 customers in 171 countries, and a lot of them came in the last 15 years. And we're putting them into very low-cost stores. The concept being, my personal concept is I'm going to spend as little of your money as humanly possible, and we're going to work the equipment to death. We're going to work the chest freezers. We're going to work the sink. We're going to work the batch freezer. And as the money comes rolling in, then we can look at our problems. My first problem is I'm running the CB350 18 hours a day. I haven't seen my wife in months. A vacation, you got to be kidding me. I'm just overworked, but the money is pouring in. So now I've got enough money that I can now double my capacity by putting in more storage freezer, and I can hire a trusted friend or a fireman or a cop or someone just out of the military They all have, except maybe the trusted friend, a work ethic of my job is to make the boss 50 gallons of ice cream tonight. So 11 o'clock tonight, I say, see ya, I'm going to bed. And the person has my formulas, my store, and they're going to continue making my ice cream. So you can double your production. When business gets even bigger, you say, I can't take it anymore, I need a bigger machine. But you've got so much money in the bank that you didn't have a year ago that you can now put in a larger machine. But you don't start with the largest machine or even a mid-sized machine. You start small and work up. Jeff did it. He's a testimony to it. He started with a CB350 and then got a 24 quart. And one of these days, he's probably going to call up and get a 44 just because of the sheer volume, and he'll use it only for solid flavors, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry.
224s.
224s you'll go. That would be my personal preference. But Jeff's not finished expanding.
Except stores.
Store, yeah,
Okay.
not waistline. No, store. Let me go get Christi and some chairs and we'll sit down, and I hope you have a lot of questions. This is the great opportunity. I'll be right back. Will you please take over? Not entertain them, answer questions.
Okay.
We've seen the car.
I do have one thing to comment on that he said. Try to get into the mindset that we don't have problems. This is an ice cream business. We're getting into it for profit, art, and fun. And, of course, simplicity. So there will be bumps in the road, but they're not going to be problems. There'll be hurdles. If you're running hurdles on a track, what do they call that race? Is this on?
Hurdles.
What?
They call it hurdles.
Right. So if you're running track like that, you don't look at the hurdle as a problem. You look at it as a challenge. I like to look at them as opportunities. Every time something comes along that's not good, it's an opportunity to make it better. Somebody once said, you can't appreciate success until you've dealt with failure. So all these things, they're not problems in my world. They're challenges. We made an ice cream Monday, and I dumped it Monday night. I came in after class, tasted it, and I dumped 6 gallons of product. Dumped it down the drain. It wasn't the best. And I know what I did wrong. In teaching sometimes, like these two girls here, they have a turn at the machine. And they're going to screw something up while my back is turned. Not that they did it, because they didn't. But so I come in at night of the first night of class, and I taste all the product that we made. And 99% of it is perfect, just like we want. But this batch wasn't. So I dumped it. And don't be afraid to do that, because there again, it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. You dump it, and now your opportunity is what? Make it the best. So that's what we did.
That's you, Jeff.
Oh boy, is this a new chair?
Nothing but the best.
A new chair.
That's mine.
Oh, that's your.
Yeah, I run the world
Ooh,
from
I get
there.
to sit in the boss's chair.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I hope you don't fall asleep, because that's what I do. I'll close the door. Thank you.
Now this should
Sorry,
be
girls.
a little spirited because we have opinions. You know, we have differing opinions on this stuff. My goal when I started my class was to get people into business very inexpensively, quickly and inexpensively. And it's different than the way most people do it. Why are you two sitting opposed to? Come on, let's have a little troika.
Because
here.
we need to get the board, and he's got to
okay.
get the camera in.
Okay.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about when you started. You said you were in an 8x7.
In the back of a gym.
You want to hear that?
Yes.
Well, after I took Steve's class and I sat in the back with that gentleman sitting, Steve professed that we do, what, Mike? No.
All right.
Oh, Steve professed that we get into wholesale. So I bought my machine and I was driving around looking for a place just for wholesale. I didn't care where it was or what it looked like. And I was looking, it was a Sunday morning, and I was looking for those store it places, you know, those doors that you pull up when you store stuff in there. And I just needed one that had water and electric. Well, I found a few, not in great neighborhoods, but being Sunday, they were closed and nobody was there to help me. So on the way back, I took a 2-lane road back to my house, and in the middle of nowhere, I look over and I see a sign on the grass, and it said "Space for Lease." This is just happenstance. So I looked, and there's a gym there. It was 3 bays, a building with 3 bays in it, each about 1,800 square feet. And so I pulled in, I called the guy, and I said, "Do you have space here?" He said, "Yeah, I'll be right over." Nice guy, George. He came over, and the gym is up and running. You know, it's Sunday, there's treadmills going, there's music playing, there's the smell of sweat through the air, there's free weights, the whole deal, in all 3 of these things. So I said, "What kind of space you have?" And he brought me in through the gym, through people working out, through the music, to a back corner room. And there's a door, we opened the door, and it was 8 feet by 7 feet. You saw it last night.
Closet.
It was 8 feet by 7 feet, and it had a little sink in it, about a 9-inch sink, with one of these things on it, and that's it. So I said, "How much?" Because all I need is wholesale, remember, right? Just nice. So he said, $400 a month. I said, "I'll take it." So I made the deal, and now I put my machine in there, and I have a little sink. I bought a stainless steel table just like this at Sam's Club, and that was pretty much it. I went to Restaurant Depot and bought some tubs, the 1-gallon tubs, and remember, I didn't know anything. I mean, no offense, but I took this same thing, but I didn't know anything. So the next, we have time for this?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So the next day I started making ice cream because I'm going to see what Steve calls chef at these restaurants to try to get him to take my, look how fascinated he is, to try to take my ice cream and sell it, because wholesale's the way to go according to what I learned. So I made coconut ice cream. You had.
Amazing.
I made coconut ice cream, and you all had it, right? We made it the other day.
Very good.
So I made coconut ice cream because, I don't know, that's what I made. And then I loaded up tubs. I bought a portable freezer that plugs into your car cigarette lighter. And I loaded in some tubs, cups, spoons, and off I went. It was a Tuesday, and I went to a place called Little Joey's, Italian. And I walk in, 9:30 in the morning, and they're all busy doing stuff, getting ready for the lunch crowd. And I said, "I've got some ice cream. Want to try it?" So he said, "Sure." So I give him a scoop in a cup, and he tries it. And he said, "This is fantastic." And I said, "I know." He said, and I said, "You want to sell it here?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, we could sell the hell out of this stuff." So we made our deal, and I said, "I'll be back with the ice cream." And I went to the next place up the road called Pasta Fair. And the lady who was the owner, sitting at the bar doing bookkeeping work or whatever. And I said, "Try this." And she tried it, and right away it was, "Emilio, come here." And Emilio comes out, he tries it, and their eyebrows go way up in the air, and we made a deal. So I called my wife, and I said, "Rose, we're going to be rich. This is easy." The end of the story, I went to 5 places that day, and every one of them said, "Oh yeah, we'll do it, we'll sell it." And I told Rose, look for a new house. I was thinking about cars already. And so I went back with each one had a gallon. I took a stainless container for the water with a scoop in it, and I brought a nice rag. And they all instructed me which freezer to put it in. And I put the rag in the cup with the water and a thing out, and I said, treat it nice. And I left in all 5 places. And then I'm sitting home looking at car catalogs, and Rose is looking at homes and real estate. And 3 days later, I said, I better go back and see if they need more. I got to keep them supplied now. I have a route. And I stopped at 5 places. I have no doubt I could have gone to 15 places, because he's right. The chefs are there, and it's time in the morning they can taste it. So I went back, Little Joey's, I forget which one. And I walk in, "Hi, Jeff, hey, we're great." I go in the back, and I open the freezer, and there's my ice cream, a little left in there, but the lid isn't on. So I looked in the tub, and it's all icy, of course, right? The lid wasn't on. So I scraped it out, threw away that ice cream, brought another one in, and I looked at the cup with the scoop and the water in it, and it was like a swamp. I mean, I didn't want to go near it. I dumped the water, cleaned the scoop in the sink, took the rag, which was really disgusting, and I gave him a new rag. And I said, guys, take care of this stuff, you know, put the top on and everything. And I left. And I went up to Pasta Fair. This is the route that I had made for myself. And I walked in, and exactly the same thing. The lid was askew, so air was getting into the ice cream, icy all over it. The rag was disgusting. The water was never changed, and the scoop was sitting in it. So I got a little upset. The third place I went to was Legends, and they sell wings. And now I had, all right, so I walk in the back. The ice cream is in a freezer with veal and sausage and produce. So the ice cream smelled like that. It's just a natural thing. The cover wasn't on tight. It smelled bad. So I thought for a minute, and I said, okay, this isn't going to work for me. And probably because I'm not sophisticated enough to create a wholesale operation. I'm just, you know, what do I know? I know nothing. So I said to all 5 places, this is not going to work, and I pulled everything. And I go back to that little room in the gym in the corner, and I'm washing the buckets and cleaning everything, and then a knock on my door. And I opened it up, and the music from the gym is there, and this treadmill sweat smell, and there's a guy standing there, and he says, "You sell ice cream?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What do you got?" I said, "Coconut." He said, "How much is it?" I said, $2. He said, "I'll take one." So I go in there, and I had a Dixie cup from just a regular Dixie cup, and I put 2 scoops in there, put a spoon in it, and I gave it to him, and he handed me $2. And I put it in my pocket. And then I go back to cleaning and everything. 15 minutes later, I thought he wanted his money back. I opened the door, and there's a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 kids, little kids. "You sell ice cream?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "What do you got?" I said, "Coconut." He said, "How much is it?" I said, "It's $3. He said, "We'll take 4. So I scooped the 4 of them, put a spoon in. He gave me a 10 and 2 ones, and I closed the door, and I looked at the 10 and 2 ones, and all of a sudden, wholesale and retail took separate ends of the world for me. And I realized, I called Rose, and I said, "Rose, you can buy that new house if you want, because retail is what we're going to do. Wholesale, I just wasn't sophisticated enough to set up a wholesale environment. It can be done because your product is stupid good and the profit is there." And so I have a little thing going, and about a week later, I had I told the owner of the gym, "I need one of these doors. I need some room in the front." And he said, "Well, okay, that'll cost you $200 a month more." I said, "Okay, no problem." So now I have the back room to make the product, and I have a counter out front. You saw the photograph. I had a photograph of me. And I have a counter. And I had 3 sizes, $2, $3, and $5. And people would come in. What do you think they bought? 2. They bought 2. So the next day, the 2 went in the trash, and I have 3 and 5. What do you think they bought? 3. So 4 days later, I threw the 3 away, and now I'm selling ice cream at $5 a cup, nothing, and that's how it was for 10 years. $5 a cup, sales tax included, 1 size, that's it. And gradually I took more and more space from the gym until he realized I have more space than he does. So he moved out, and I took the whole thing, about 3,800 square feet. And I just visited it. I sold it 2 years ago, and I just visited last night. Mark and I were coming here, and we stopped there. I wanted to show them what it looked like. And they're opening their 3rd location now. So it's there. Profit, art, fun, and simplicity. That's why we're here. And all of them work. All of those things work. Okay, sorry.
That was great. We finally, very good.
Don't applaud because each one of you can do this. This is simple and not expensive. We're going to talk now about how much it costs to do this. I started on nothing, but let's go.
Okay. So I'm going to need your help here, so you tell me where it's wrong, because I just put this together at the last minute. So we go through the steps of making ice cream, is the way I approach the business. So the dairy delivers the fresh from the cow yesterday afternoon dairy blend in those boxes, and you've got to store it somewhere. Now, if you talk to any other company, they're going to say, oh, you need a mixed storage box. Well, a mixed storage box is a fancy name for a refrigerator, except a mixed storage box costs $2,000. And a refrigerator and you can get them at Lowe's with just a refrigerator, no freezer section, special order, about $600. What did I put down here? 3 components to operate for Rex. Where is it?
I bought my first refrigerator.
Yeah,
You'll need a refrigerator.
900.
I bought the
two
first
Home Depot
one
or Lowe's?
at a flea market,
Refrigerator?
and it was
Oh, right here,
$75. And last night it's still there when I went.
Yeah. And the only thing there is people say, well, what size do I need? Well, it's a good question. Jeff has pointed out, and I do the same thing, you can freeze mix. So normally, in the old days, I would have said, well, how big a mixed storage box do I need? Well, how often do they deliver? They deliver twice a week. Well, I need a smaller mixed storage box than I do if they deliver only once a week. Well, you can throw that idea out the window now, too. I don't care when they deliver, because I can freeze it in a $700 chest freezer and keep it for, I buy for 2 of these classes in advance, so I'm keeping it for 4 months or longer. So $900 is probably the most you'll ever spend for a refrigerator. You'll also use a refrigerator if there's room for, if you open up a bag, something you've got to keep fresh for a few days, like thawed strawberries or whatever, they can go in the refrigerator. So the mix comes in, we're going to store it in a refrigerator that used to be known as a mixed storage box. From there, we need to sanitize the machine. We have to run water through it, and the sink is 3 compartments: wash, rinse, sanitize. That's the code and that they want you to do, even though we're going to sanitize in the inside the machine itself. So you need a 3-compartment sink. They can be pretty pricey, because this one, if you look at it, was seamed together. They took stainless steel and they seamed it together and welded it, and they made a sink. That's fine for an ice cream parlor, because we're not washing anything in there other than metal parts, which are going to get sanitized in the machine later anyway. But NSF is National Sanitation Foundation. If you were going to open up a restaurant, they want that sink to have curved sides everywhere. It's what we call deep drawn. Take a big sheet of stainless steel, a big press comes down and stamps the whole sink. That raises the price up. But restaurants go out of business all the time, unfortunately for them. So you start now, you've got some time, and you start looking around for a used 3-compartment sink. The health department says the dimensions, and I don't want to get in the weeds, but the dimensions have to be that you can, immerse the dasher into the sink. So instead of vertical or horizontal, we're going to go on a diagonal. It'll make the sink smaller. Don't worry about that for now. So we've got the sink. Where is that? 3-compartment sink, $1,000. I'm hoping you can get it. I'm hoping you can get it for a lot less. Used. You ought to be able to pick it up for $200.
I just bought a brand new one. Well, you don't want to go into this yet.
Go ahead.
No, it's all right.
You got your first one out of a salvage yard.
My
didn't
first
you?
one, no, I got it in a field in Tampa. It was used with, they had cattle feed in it, and it was in the field, and that's $75. But I just bought a brand new one, and they shipped it to me, $275. Brand new.
So put down. You don't have an eraser.
I can get it.
Let's compromise, and we'll put $500 for now.
No, put your prices.
All right, we'll leave it at 1,000 for now.
Put it down.
All right, boys.
So now 1,000.
Put it at 1,000
So now we've
for the
gotten to where
three-base sink.
we've got the mix come in. We've got the sink. Now the batch freezer. I make 6 different sizes. I make 3 different countertops. The other 2, you could get by with the 200. It makes 3 quarts in 10 minutes. That's going to be really slow. You're going to be there all day, all night. And keep in mind, labor costs is going up dramatically. So you've got to get the most bang for your buck out of your labor. So let's just stay with the CB350, which is the largest selling machine in the world. 12,300 from us. And that's what's going to make your ice cream, your ices, dairy-free, gelato, frozen lemonade, frozen yogurt, frozen custard. Anything you want to sell is going to be made on that CB350. So we've got that at 12,300. When it comes out of there, we're going to store the ice cream in chest freezers like this for now. They're $800 each at Lowe's, Home Depot, or Sears. I need 2 of them, I think, at least. So $1,600 for those 2 from Home Depot or Lowe's at $800 each. I am going to put my ice cream into a dipping cabinet. I'm not going to work from there, and you'll figure it out. You can.
Oh, I just see what I just did. Why didn't you guys say anything? I'm like, this doesn't look right.
I'm going to put down $2,800 for a dipping cabinet like you see on the back wall there. I call that the floppy lid cabinet because the lid flops over on itself where you can completely remove it. They cost less than visual display. I don't like visual display. The ice cream deteriorates too fast with the sunlight and all the air and everything else. They'll go on the back wall so that I walk up to you and I say, hi, can I take your order? I'd like a mint chip. Okay, fine. My back then turns on them and I'm scooping the ice cream. So if I happen to drop a scoop in the cabinet, nobody's going to know about it till later. I'm going to have very nice signs, but I don't have any up over. Oh, over there, the Emery Thompson sign. I made those and use it for trade shows, and I have little pieces of stainless steel, because I work in stainless steel, hanging off it with S-hooks, and it's a row of them. It says mint chip, chocolate scream, salted caramel. So if I'm out of flavor, I just take down that one. And I hate to sound like an old fart, but make it big enough so people can see it. If you don't have the flavors where they can read it and they're squinting like that, you're losing sales. So make it big enough that they can see it. Make it so that you can change up the flavors every day. And we had that dipping cabinet at $2,800. Stainless steel work table. They're currently about $500 to $700 each. I'm sure you can get it for cheaper, but we'll put one down at $700.
The table.
Wire rack storage like that, you can, and my figures are padded, but the end result is good. The wire rack storage like that is a must. It's a great way. They're easy to keep clean. They're NSF, so you use just wood. I mean, you can start off with wood cabinets, but eventually the health department's going to get on your case. So I put $800 for a wire rack. That's all I need in physical equipment to do the store. If you go into a dress shop, if you take over a dress shop, it's going to cost a hell of a lot more to set up the store than if it sold some kind of food prior to you. Because a food store is going to have a lot of electricity and it's going to have a lot of plumbing. So the dress shop is going to have a couple of 60-watt light bulbs. So take that into mind when you're picking a location. But I'm putting a whopping $5,000 in for electric and plumbing. Is that low? It's low. Yeah, but we're doing that small store. We're talking about 700 to 900 square feet. I want it as small as possible because that's my overhead. So I'm going to say $5,000 for electrical and wiring because what do I got? I got the batch freezer. And that,
look at me, I'm just sitting here gritting my teeth.
I know, because you just spent a lot more than this. But
Hang on, we'll get to me.
But you didn't when you started.
We'll get to me.
You didn't when you started. My big one, then, this is where a business succeeds or fails. $5,000 cash in the bank. I want $5,000 cash in the bank because banks aren't loaning money. I can't. I mean, we've been in business 116 years. It would be difficult for me to go in and get a $50,000 loan from a bank because banks just are not loaning money. Banks loan money to people who don't need it, and I don't know who they are, but they're not loaning money. Your supplies that come in, nobody's going to give you open account. They're just not. Maybe in 6 months or a year, they'll give you net 15 to pay for your mix or something like that. If you put any of this on your credit card, I guarantee you 100% you will fail. You will absolutely fail in business if you so much as pull out that credit card because you'll never pay it off. Oh, it was too easy. I needed a $700 stainless steel work table. Here comes out the MasterCard. I needed the sink, and I can get a real good deal on it. I can get it for $500. Out comes the credit card. They're charging you 22% interest. It was so easy to pull that card out, and on the bill every month it says minimum bill $60. Oh, I can afford $60. Hey, that's easy. You just ran up $3,000, so it may be $60, but you're never going to pay it off. I shouldn't even say this on camera, but we insist that we be paid for our machine by check or wire transfer, no credit cards. One, because it costs us 3.5%, and you buy a $30,000 machine, 3.5%, it adds up in our business to well over $100,000 that we lose so that you can get points on airfare. I'd rather keep it in my prices. I'd rather keep my prices low. But those credit cards are a disaster for you. They'll run you out of business in less than a year. And I have told way too many people who say, can I put my machine on the card? I go, no, but how are you going to pay for the dipping cabinet? Oh, they take my card. What about the mix? Oh, they take my card. So all of a sudden they've got this huge bill on their card and they're going to go bankrupt, and I'm not going to be part of it. I tell them, you know what, this is August. If you just wait until February, let's talk again in February, and by that time you save every dime you possibly can. You're going to be able to afford this, and you'll get open so that when the money comes in, it's yours, it's not MasterCard's. Now, tear it apart. Oh, so my total is $30,100. Anybody else you talk to, I don't care if you talk to Capojani, Electrofreeze, Stolting, Taylor, which are all American names for machines made in Italy, they're going to tell you $100,000. Oh no, you must have this $35,000 gelato display case. And who on earth would put in just one? You need two of them. No, you need to have coconut ice cream and sell one flavor. And when that one flavor does very well, then you say, hey, maybe I'll make mint chip. And then you go from there. You start with what you can afford and you work your way up. I started off by driving a Chevy Econoline van. Now I'm driving a Lincoln Navigator, a big car. It only took me 50 years. I didn't start out. Or another way of looking at it, which is probably more practical. I want to go into the moving business tomorrow. Do I start off with an Econoline van and start moving people's furniture bit by bit, or do I go out and buy an 18-wheeler for $500,000 and say, okay, here I am, come hire me? You start off with what you can afford and you work your way up. That will make you successful. He's living proof.
Yeah, but he drives a Bug.
But by choice. He could drive a Bentley if he wanted to.
There's good news and bad news here on this board. The bad news is there's one major expense that's been omitted. I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you about it. First, last, and security.
Which I can't control.
Oh, sure you can. It depends on the rent you're going to pay.
Well, that's why it's not my figure.
Let's take $1,500 to rent.
This is equipment cost.
Well, no, this is the cost to get into business. Let's take $1,500 a month. So now you're looking at $45,000 to $5,000. Write a check for it, and you'll never see it again. It's gone. It's open the window, throw it away. So you got to put that in there. If you're going to get into business, the last thing you need is, oh, everything's great, and then you go to sign the lease, and it's $5,000, and you didn't count on it. So just remember that that's part of all this. If we start at the top, the machine is fixed. I'm the only one in the world who I know gets a break on these. I'm sorry, I didn't.
But you gotta initial startup ingredients and stuff as well.
What's that?
You gotta make a first batch, so I don't know.
Oh, that's incidental.
What
When we're going into business, making your ice cream, you need spatulas, you need buckets, but that's all incidental. We're talking about sitting at home in your living room and saying, hey, hon, let's open an ice cream store. Yeah. So, okay, the machine's going to cost us $12,000. Got to have it. Got to have the machine. Don't make a mistake and buy a piece of crap used thing off of eBay. It's just going to cost you money. So $12,000 for the machine. Now, the 2 Home Depot or Lowe's chest freezers, he has $1,600 there. No way. I'm not spending that. I'm going to Sam's Club and buying chest freezers. Right now, they're $169, and they're fine. I've got 3 of them now, and then I have one big one from Lowe's, and that was $500. That's about the size of this one here.
Okay, so these are from Lowe's, and they're $800 now.
Well, okay, I just bought one. Yeah. I've had it maybe 2 weeks, and they delivered it too. You know what? I bought it through a different company, and it was delivered by Lowe's. I looked at, never happened before. I looked up chest freezers, found the right size on Google, and I ordered it, and lo and behold, Lowe's calls me and says, we're delivering your freezer on Thursday.
What's the brand?
I don't know.
Okay, so let me just point in. The I don't know the brand means it's Chinese.
I don't care.
But
wait a minute,
do,
wait a minute.
because it's not going to last.
Well, wait a minute. Last night we went to the store I opened 12 years ago, and there's the first one I ever bought because I spray painted it in tie-dye colors, and there it is, and they're using it. They're dipping ice cream from it.
12 years ago, it was better made. Today, it is Sichuan province makes the worst crap on earth. Anything Chinese will not hold up.
We can go on, but believe me, if you want to get into business, buy a cheap chest freezer for $169. They don't break. They last forever. We even took the one that I showed him, which is now 12 years old. We used to take that to do parties and socials on a trailer, bumpity, 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 bump, in the heat. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, would you buy the $3,000 batch freezer from the Chinese?
Batch freezer? No, of course not.
Why not?
Because you make the best.
Because I can get it for $3,500.
But yours is a much more complex piece of equipment than a simple chest freezer with a motor this big.
But that's what your company relies on, is making sure your product is frozen.
Okay, difference of opinion. If you come to me and you say, put me in business, I'm going to Sam's Club and buying you 3 chest freezers for $169.
So I'm still under 30. I'm still at $35,000.
What do you mean?
To open this store with the rent.
Well, okay, but let's keep going. Dipping serving cabinets, $2,800. I can do that for, let's see, $0, because I don't need them. To me, there's no difference in the world going to that and dipping your ice cream, or going to a $169 Sam's Club freezer and dipping your ice cream. It's the same thing. It's just as cold. It's just as convenient. I don't need it.
Okay, we've had this argument for 15 years, and it reminds me of the place. There's a commercial of this, and there's this old-time guy who does haircuts, $8, and across the $10 for a haircut, and across the street, this new glitzy Super Cuts opens up, and they do Super Cuts, $5. And so the old guy, instead of changing his price, puts up a sign that says, "We repair $5 haircuts." So you buy all this cheap crap, and when you get a hot summer, or you get low voltage, or all the other reasons that there's a difference between American and foreign, and those babies go out, and you have no ice cream, how much money are you going to lose in one day with all that melted?
Oh, well, let's see. What happens if the compressor on your walk-in freezer goes out?
If you bought a Copeland, it wouldn't.
You're done.
Was it a new one?
If one of my freezers goes out, what do? I put it in the other one.
What about the old expression, you get what you pay for? You just said you won't buy Chinese
for
the batch freezer.
My goal is to take all the people that come to me and get them in business. I do it 3 ways. I do it by lighting a fire under them and telling them how simple it is. And then I do it on cost, how easy it is to get into business. What my business plan is? Make ice cream, sell ice cream, go to the bank. And the way I can get that done on as little money as possible is what I want. Do I have granite countertops? No, I don't have granite countertops. I don't even have Formica countertops. Do I have a digital menu board in my store? No. My store exists for one reason and one reason only. Give people the best ice cream in the world. That's it. So how I get there, I don't care if you can see a cheap chest freezer in my kitchen. And my intent when I opened up was what Steve said. My intent, breaks, go buy another one, $169. They were $149 then. Breaks, go buy another one. But guess what happened? They never break. I had 13 freezers at Mystic, and they're still there. Last night we went there, they're all there. They're all there. Except for one place in the back room, and he had a big reach-in freezer, a little bigger than that. And I said, what's it doing here? He said, it broke, went down. Enough said. So rather than go through all these things, I put people in business, and Steve and I, how long have we been together?
Probably 12 years.
Yeah, and I've been putting people in business, and some of them don't go the way I tell them to go, because they want fancy countertops. They want black and white tile floor. That's an ice cream parlor. That's what I want. A digital sign. We now have butter pecan. That's what I want. A POS system at the register. I want to know how many black raspberry chocolate chunks I sold today and what's left in them. I don't need any of that. I don't need any of that. And you've been to 2 of my stores now, and they're simple. They make the best ice cream in the world. I stand by that. You know that. And it makes money. I mean, we made a boatload in 10 years at that ice cream store, and then I sold it for a great price. So that's rather than go, sure, a 3-bay sink, I don't think you'd, but that's okay. You need a 3-bay sink. I found my first one for $75, and I just bought one for $280, I guess. But you know, as far as Chinese, I'm not a big fan of Chinese manufacturing. But the chest freezers, for some reason, they don't break. They just don't break.
I think, so let me ask you this then. Would you want to buy a Gremlin? It still gets you from point A to point B. It was cheap, but you have the possibility if this breaks, you got to fix this and fix that.
Gremlin,
but
one of the most
cheap.
successful limited-time automobiles in history. Yugo, same thing.
Work with me.
Okay.
Okay? Or you want to step up and get a Ford Focus. It's a little bit more money, but you know it's guaranteed forever or a very, very long time to get you from point A to point B.
You just got your first job. Mm-hmm. You're making $75 a week. Mm-hmm. Do you want to spend the extra for a Ford F-150, or are you going to get by on a Yugo because you got to make some money before you trade up into a better car?
I'm going to buy the F-150 because if I don't show up for work,
but you can't afford it.
The key to business around here is just show up. That is the key to working for someone else is just show up. If you can't show up, but I think we're really getting off the subject because I was doing years ago $150,000 stores, POS this and tile floor that and all that, and I'm down to $35,000, and I'm not going cheap. I'm not worrying about. I'm not a wing and a prayer that it's going to get through July 4th weekend, which your system will be. But we're talking only a few $1,000s between us, so we're singing to the same choir. The point is that you can get into business for a lot less than it used to be by letting the equipment do the work and let the business grow. I love the term, the millennial term, let it grow organically. It's a perfect term because in one word they're describing, it means you start with nothing and you work your way up to be CEO. That's what you do. I started bending copper tubing when I was 16 in the Bronx. And you put dozens and dozens of people into business. We put thousands of people into business. And quite frankly, I'm the one who's correcting some of the things that you say when people call up 2 years later and say, I tried Jeff's way with the chest freezers, and with a 900 square foot store, they take up way too much room. I haven't got any space for them. And it's just not practical for me with the lines out the door to be using chest freezers.
There's the key right there. They started cheap and they got lines out the door. Now you can upgrade. You've got the money.
And they're going to it. That's what I've said all along. But they're going to. But I'm talking about it. I'm talking about using a dipping cabinet. and certainly a reliable chest freezer, because that Chinese stuff, one couple called me up, they had bought a Chinese machine and they said, but it came with a second compressor. And I said, that's like buying a Ford truck and they throw in an extra V8 because they know the thing isn't going to last you 3 months. They couldn't get an instruction book for it. We found it over in China and my IT department translated it for them. They could not get parts. There's no such thing as service. You get what you pay for in business. Now, if you want to pay more money, go buy a Cappigiani. They are on average $6,000 to $8,000 more than us.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're 24-quart machine. Mine's 28.9.
How do they justify that?
Because they're Chinese. Because they're Italian. They're $36,000.
Their scraper blades are $3,000 to replace.
Yeah, and ours are a couple hundred.
I know that for a fact.
So I think we've beat this horse to death, but the point is you don't need, when someone tells you, another company or another person doing a class like this tells you that you've got to have the POS system, which tells you how many mint chip cones you sold and how many waffles you sold. All you have to do is look over there on the shelf. Hey, I'm out of waffles. I guess I sold 100. It's not that hard. You don't need the dairy tile walls and dairy tile floors. The health department comes in and says, we want dairy tile. Well, that stuff's like $1 million an inch. It's a concrete floor. Hey, inspector, how about if I paint it with a 2-stage epoxy from Rust-Oleum for $87? Yeah, that'll seal it. That's okay. But you just said I need to spend $10,000 on the floor. Well, if you want to do it your way, it's not going to look as good as mine. We're really doing this, getting you into business for as little money as possible.
Correct. That's the key.
That is the key, and we both agree.
Getting you in business, making the world's best ice cream for as little out of pocket as possible.
Nobody cares what the display cabinet looks like, whatever way you do it. They care about how the ice cream tastes. Nobody ever walked out and said, I can't wait to come back tomorrow. I love their display cabinet. That's not why they walked in there. We're going to have lunch in a couple of minutes. How about some questions from the audience? This is your big chance. Because you can't come up here afterwards and ask questions.
Let's go a little deeper. What do you think about this discussion? You, sir. When you do this, I know you're thinking. So what do you think about this?
I like the idea of bootstrapping a business.
What does that mean?
Starting with very little
Okay.
and moving into something bigger. Basically pulling it up by its bootstraps is what it means. We're in business because we kind of took that same approach. So saving money but not having to spend money twice is valuable to us. We don't look at spending a whole lot of money, but we look at spending money and having been on the receiving end of poor manufacturing and having to buy multiple machines and so forth and so on. It's important to us that we kind of find that middle ground and get reasonable quality without having to spend every penny that we have to get into business. And for part of us, it's ambient air temperature. So for instance, some of the equipment we bought at a lower quality, and because the ambient air temperature around we're in the business we're in made it work harder. So I like hearing the contrast of how we can get in with the least amount, and then the compromise of how we can get in with similar
When you
cost
say
and better product.
you don't want to spend the money twice, part of really business is upgrading.
Absolutely.
And getting in on the ground floor, and then when you can afford it, upgrade.
Yes.
Well, just like me, I started with a 6-quart machine, a CB350, because that's what I could afford then, and I wanted to get in business inexpensively. And then 9 months later, I bought a 24 with cash, because you've got it. You're making it. So it's a redundancy to buy that same batch freezer twice, but you're upgrading. And you're upgrading with everything.
My concern is not the upgrade, because that makes business sense, because you're doing it with money that's been made. We've been on the receiving end of things that don't last, and you have to replace them before you're able to. Sometimes those things spiral out of control, and next thing you know,
You're hurting.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
But the people who've come to me in the last 10 years are begging to get into business. For so many reasons, they don't want to answer to the guy anymore. They don't want to be 9 to 5 anymore. Their kids are growing up, they want to be able to leave them something. All these things, their family wants to cohesively get into a business that they can all operate. All these reasons, and my heart goes out to them, and I want to put them in business. So I'll get them in business. I used to be able to do this at 20 grand. I'm sorry, 15 grand. Put people in business. Open it, here's the keys, 15 grand later. Now it's probably 22 or something like that. To open the doors. That's what I want you to do. Open the doors and know that with the proper instructions, you're making the world's best ice cream, world's best Italian ices, world's best cream ice. Because if you can open your doors and that goal is accomplished, you're going to succeed. Because word is going to spread word and people are going to tell people. And then, yes, then you can expand. I had a little place, but I kept expanding because there was room for it. And you can buy nicer things after that for the business. I teach, Mark asked me yesterday, after your first month, you realize you've got some money in your pocket in the bank account. What do you do with it? Don't save it. Put it into the business. Keep this train going. And then in 6 months, then you take out 25 grand from the bank, you sell your CB350, and you're in business in a larger scale. You expand, the nail salon goes out of business, boom, I want that store too. But start, get into business as fast as you can and as inexpensively as you can and make money as quick as you can.
I absolutely respect the hustle and the idea of expanding and making something happen. So, that's...
Okay.
I got to tell you a quick story that'll make your jaw drop. What do they call it when someone harasses you on Facebook?
Keyboard warrior?
Okay. Or
Trolling.
trolling, yes.
What is it called?
Trolling.
Trolling.
This one guy starts writing and says, Steve Thompson is a shyster because he's putting all these people into business with a CB350 when he knows damn well you need a 24.
You gotta be
He's
kidding.
doing it so that you'll have the machine for a year and then now you have to go buy a bigger one from him, and he's a horrible
Thank
human
God.
being. And I mean I laughed my head off until I realized people started writing back and saying, oh, that's Steve Thompson's really evil. And thank goodness Christi is an expert at social media. I mean, I can't even find it on my phone.
Computers and him don't work well.
Are you kidding me?
And I'm serious about
Yeah.
this. And Christi bailed me out and said, he's doing it because it's all you can afford. You know,
And do
I'd
they
like to have
know
a
how little
Bentley.
you're going to lose when they sell that, put it on eBay in
Well-
15 minutes, it's gone, and you lost $1,000 over a year.
I know.
Well, his concept or their concept was to just drop $100,000 right up front. And if you're going to do it, you've got to go big right off the bat. And that's the beauty of having a CB350 is because it's such a small amount, you can do it right from your home. And it's affordable, and it gets your foot in the door to start a business versus dropping, $30,000 on this. Not everybody has $30,000. Majority would have $12,000 to go ahead and start.
Yes, sir.
Is this price for only internal, or that's going to be international price you rent?
For domestic or international?
Yeah.
This is most likely for domestic. International, we're not familiar what other countries charge for prices as far as their goods and products.
Where international?
Africa?
Where?
Africa?
Africa?
Yeah.
Well,
I have
shipping
no
alone, everything's going to be more. So you've got to count on
Yeah.
probably at least 10% more.
And
Why don't you
then,
come here and open up a business?
Okay, another question. Can we know the old price you have? Is it like only one, or you have a 3-1 or whatever for?
I don't think I understood.
machine? How many machines do you have?
We have 6.
Huh?
We have 6 machines.
6 machines and 42 variations of them.
Are you?
CP35 is it like a little one, or this is the middle
No,
one?
This is
It's
the
the large one.
CB350.
It's the one right here.
This one. The one that we made the pink ice on.
How about that one, the last?
This is a 12 quart.
How much is that one?
26.
26, yeah.
26.9, and the next one up, the 24, like Jeff has, is 28.9. So for $2,000, you're doubling your production, or you're cutting your labor cost in half. Our biggest problem is going to be labor going forward. This is all, in my personal political opinion, is a scam. about what's going on to raise labor. In fact, they said, the government said, you got a problem getting labor, pay more. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to drive the price up, and small business cannot pay $30 an hour for labor. We're going to find a way to automate it, or the boss is just going to work day and night if he wants to stay in business.
Yeah.
But your labor is your biggest thing to worry about in the future. The cost of dairy products is hardly going to change. The cost of a Mars candy bar isn't going to change much, but your labor is going to kill you if you're not efficient. But when the beginning of the business, again, we're back to getting into business so you can have these problems. Nice problem to have, but it'll come later. For now, you want to get into business with something you can afford so that it makes you money. At $100,000, like that guy was talking about, or $160,000, and the wonderfully stupid expression, go big or go home. A lot of people are going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never go into business.
On you for selling the CB350.
That is
but
correct.
because I was purposely secretly
yeah.
doing it to push them into a 24.
So that was a selling
Are
scheme.
people that
You guys get
stupid?
into talking about what
Like maybe a daily startup routine looks like generally what time you open a store, what time you make products.
Jeff
kind of stuff.
is the
it's
expert.
just general.
He's the expert.
You gotta take the class.
How many labor hours?
Oh, for real, yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
But the people
In
on
Daytona.
What do you want? We want to know what hours you're
Watching
open?
this.
General daily
Well, let me
routine
say
looks
this.
like. Just
My
how many
first store that I ran for 10 years, where I did very, very well, we were open from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Right.
4 hours a night, 6 nights a week. That's it.
He wasn't kid friendly though.
So that's when the store's open, and then you
You gotta make product around that.
What's your new store look like? What are the hours there?
1 to 10.
Okay.
Are you kidding
There
me?
just isn't anything going on before 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people will open at 11 because that's when the dress shop's open,
Yeah,
and the other stores.
and the truth is,
nobody's around. Nobody's eating ice cream at 11 in the morning.
The truth is, betwing 1 o'clock and I'm
It's
just
not our
talking to
business.
myself
we just
over
ate
here. to this
alcohol
point.
we do
Right
ice cream.
off the bat.
We don't want to sell anything else.
Kill two
It gets
birds with one
confusing.
stone with that one. Ice cream. They don't need early ice cream.
I could have had a little more in there though.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,
$10,000.
I heard you say that there's like a 3-month
This is all-
time frame for a specific machine and so forth and so on.
10 weeks for the CB350, 12 weeks for the bigger ones.
Okay, so, for reasons that I'm not going to get into right now, how much and how long, I mean, not how much, but how long is there for the smallest machine?
It's still 10
It's still 10 weeks. Yeah,
And-
everything countertop is 10 weeks. We have over 140 orders to build. 2 years ago at this time of year, we would have 40 to build, and we were the largest in the industry. Now we have over 140 orders, and we're super mega the largest in the industry.
It's all of you guys. You guys are doing it to us by keeping us busy nonstop. We're in overtime day and night at the factories, just trying to keep up. Yeah.
Whoever made ice cream is
Yeah.
Yeah.
single one.
Yes,
Well, we're
sir.
happy.
All right, so I heard you say that you kind of catered to the adults with the 6 to 10. So that means it was more in Mystic, the adult flavor ice cream and stuff.
No, just that's I'm not a big fan of kids. Mike, can you cut that? And I didn't want an ice cream store with kids running around.
Weren't you a
That's not what I
teacher?
wanted. What?
Weren't you a teacher? A professor?
At one point, yes, I was a teacher, but high school.
He knows his audience because he's right in the largest retirement community in the state of Florida. And I'll just tell you a little bit about Jeff's business because it's so
boy.
wonderful. When you get to be older, which I haven't gotten to yet, you're sitting around and you're having dinner at 4 o'clock at night, and your wife shakes her finger at you and says, "You're only allowed to have 2 glasses of wine tonight. Last night you had 3 and you were sloppy drunk, so only 2." All right, fine. They have dinner around 7 o'clock at night. He goes, "Hey, hon, let's go over to Jeff's and get some ice cream. I know the Thompsons are going to be there and the Browns are going to be there. Let's go get some ice cream." And they go, "Yeah, great, okay," because they know that some of the flavors have liquor in them. And so now they can go get, he was limited to 2 glasses of wine. Now he can go get an aperitif after their early dinner of having some Bailey's Irish cream in a flavor. Not a lot, but just enough to make it fun. So it's an excuse to get out of the house. It was wonderful. So he had this.
Sure.
So how does
Everybody's over 100.
Hold on, 1 second, 1 second,
And
yes.
that was my question, like, how does that part work when you're serving it? It's like, is there a certain license that you get, that, how does the inspector?
You have to check, no, you're okay because it's an ingredient in your product, in your food. But you can't pour, you can't have ice cream with a shot of bourbon on it, you can't do that. And we also card people. You check their license, make sure they're over 21.
Yeah,
The signs say
pretty nice.
right there, over 21, for those flavors.
Good, quick point to bring up, and then if you're ready, we'll eat lunch. I'm not totally against doing this, but I'm against it. CBD and liquor in ice cream for a lot of stores. Not all of them, but here's my rationale, and that is, and it doesn't apply to Jeff's business. Jeff's is perfect success. I mean, it doesn't get any better. But for the most part, you're going to be a family business, and you're going to have families coming in, eating ice cream and all. It's a lot of fun to ask people in an audience, where did you go for ice cream when you grew up? Like I said before. But you are family oriented. Jeff's business was not designed for that. He was designed for where he was located, the age of the clientele, and the hours that suited that place. So he's unique to that point. But if you're in a town like Brooksville, Florida, Rye, New York, Grosse Pointe, Michigan, where you're going to have whole families coming in for ice cream, the mothers in the back of their mind are not going to be terribly happy that their 16-year-old, who is 6'4" and playing basketball, could try to sneak in, and they do. Hi, I'd like to have that rum raisin ice cream, please. Oh yeah, kid, let me see your card. Oh, I left it out in the car. I'll go get it. And then he disappears. But the parents don't think that CBD or any kind of drugs, whether you want to call it a drug or not, I'm not arguing that, or alcohol should be in a family product. So what determines that? It determines your location. If you're going to be doing mostly adults, hell yeah. If I was down in St. Martin and I had access to the pier and could be selling ice cream as the lovely tourists come off the wharf, you damn well know I'm going to be pouring a lot of rum into that lemon ice that I just made, because there's good money in it. So you can't say it's bad, but you got to say, how does it suit to my neighborhood, my setup? There are no hard, fast rules. Should we have lunch?
Okay.
Let's eat. Jeff's doing, what are you doing over there, games?
I get 60 or so emails a day, questions about the business and everything. But I was looking for one. I had an email last week. I saved it, but I can't get it right now. The guy who took my class in January opened up a store in where's Battle Creek, Michigan. He opened in Battle Creek, Michigan, and he emailed me that his first full month, which was June. His first full month, he took in $56,000.
Wow.
In his first full month.
Good for him.
So that was a great email.
And we hear that a lot.
Sure.
Is that what the startup was?
No, it's in Battle Creek, Michigan. I'm sure he didn't go, hell's bells. And he took my class, so he knows that he didn't have to, all the granite and the floors and all. You don't have to do that.
He does a lot of breakfast cereals because that's where Kellogg's is headquartered.
Yeah. His place, I saw, he sent pictures, and it's really in the middle of nowhere. It's at a crossroads outside of town.
Last thing, and I promised to shut up. 10 years ago, our business was controlled by Ray Kroc's famous expression. He opened McDonald's. The key to business is location, location, location. It's not true anymore because it's her fault. And her age group, it's her fault.
Thanks.
It's her fault because now people are doing what Jeff's doing. They get on their phone, the millennials get on their phone, and she's not a millennial, she just ages one like one. And they say, hey, I just found this place in Fruit Loops, Florida that sells rum raisin ice cream with real rum in it. Text me the address. So she texts it to 10 of her friends. They text it to 10 of their friends. Before the afternoon is over, there's 200 people within a 50-mile radius of Fruit Loops that knows that this particular Mystic ice cream has this particular product that they want. Paula and I do it now. As Christi said, I am no whiz on a computer and even worse on a cell phone. But we go to restaurants because someone said, oh, you have to go down this alley, turn left, and knock on the door and ask for Louis. And they have 35 seats, but they change the menu every 2 nights. This is where we're going. And instead of the fancy restaurant that puts ads in the paper, we don't go to those because the food's better at the little individual stores.
Please let me read one.
To go right ahead.
Okay. This came in July 4th. July 4th, I get this email. Jeff, would not think it right without giving you a shout out today. Thanks for your help in creating my independence. Just a quick update. Since opening our shop in May and sticking to your ideas, including my business card with a free giveaway that I pass out like water, my sales to date are just past $136,000. Not sure what I'll keep at this point, but as you say, I'll do okay. Thanks again, always grateful.
Wow.
So those, I love hearing that stuff.
Yeah, we all do. Let's see. It's right
Okay.
over there. There's water here. We have ice for sodas. Help yourselves.
Any ice cream?
Why would we want ice cream?
Any ice cream?
There's Diet Coke, Jeff. You better grab it.
Now we're going to make Mom's apple pie. Not my mother. We could only get her to go to the supermarket. She couldn't cook.
They need a couple of sheets.
Okay. I'll give you a couple of the formulas.
You're done with this?
You want it?
I'm going to have a piece.
You want to take it home?
No,
And some more.
I'm just going to have a little piece.
Okay.
Publix,
So first we're going to start with 5 quarts of ice cream mix. I'm going to get that ready.
Okay.
Steve, that should be what's in here.
Okay. You only used half of that.
Well, wait, but it looks
a little
like
short.
much less is missing. What happened?
I don't know.
We
I'll go-
made,
Let me get another bag.
What did
I'll
we
be right
make?
back.
Just I used it, right?
no, we made, the lemon, this.
Move along, little doggy.
Yeah. How many of you guys have heard of Lifetime? I'm sure everybody has, right? They always put out the Christmas movies and Lifetime channel. Well, fun story is our machine was actually in one of those videos, and it was called Christmas a la mode. Of course, they had to block the Emery Thompson name off, but it was our machine. So it's about a dairy farm, and they needed to save their store. They were going to go under, so she was trying to think of ways to come up with ice cream flavors to save the farm, and one of them was the apple pie. So she grabbed the apple pie, and you can see her in the movie taking the spoon and just scooping the whole apple pie right into the machine. Did you see it? You watched it? I haven't watched it yet. I've watched like clips of it, but did you know it was an Emery Thompson when you saw it? All right, well, it's the only one.
Which machine?
Christmas a la mode. And
Boy,
it's a cute
honing
movie.
in on my stuff.
No.
I know, just for today. Oh, for gosh sakes. Two
have-
of you. Get out.
Come on.
I'm sorry, folks, you can't see this. My 2 golden retrievers just came in.
Stella.
Sammy, Stella, come on.
Stella. Stella. Oh my gosh.
Paula, we need your help. We have a dog alert.
Stella.
All
All
right.
right, let me
Goodbye.
wash my hands
They
again.
keep
Let's do this
sneaking
one
in.
more time.
We try. We have guests. Okay.
You suppose we could start over again?
Yes, I think we really should. This really, are you ready to retell the story?
Retell the story. It was a one-time thing.
Okay.
Ken, fix this, please. Thanks.
Okay, so,
Fixing that one.
Yeah, he can. Ken can fix anything.
all right, well, we're going to make Mom's apple pie ice cream, and we're going to use real apple pie, the ice cream blend, apple pie filling, vanilla extract, cinnamon, and sugar. You want to tell the quick story?
Sure.
Again?
Again.
This is take 2, by the way.
How many of you have seen the, Lifetime? Everybody knows about Lifetime and their movies. One of them was Christmas a la mode, and it was a dairy farm trying to come up with a way to save their farm. And their dairy and their ice cream store, they were going under. The bank was coming to take it. I'm sure she could probably tell us more about it since you've seen it. And anyway, so she took the apple pie and I'm going to make apple pie ice cream. So she picked up the pie, grabbed the spoon, and just started scooping it right into the machine. And they made a whole bunch of apple pie ice cream, sold like crazy, and they were able to save the store. So that's the story. So be sure to watch that come Christmas time.
So Emery Thompson is everywhere, including Lifetime movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me just sneak in here.
All right, so what did you get?
I've got the mix ready to go.
You need the vanilla.
Okay. Always make sure the gate is closed. That sounds a little strange, but the last thing we did over here was to make ice cream, to take the ice cream out. So the gate was like this. We took all the ice cream out. Then we went and did other stuff. So now I get a phone call because you're pouring the mix in and you say, the machine, expletive deleted machine leaks all over the place. It's going everywhere. And I say, did you close the gate? And you look down and no, it's open. So every time you walk past your machine, just go like that. Make sure it's closed. Otherwise, you're going to have a mess. And like we said in the earlier video, if you raise this up like that, it's easier to pour in and you won't spill any. Okay, the start of apple pie ice cream. Next we add the vanilla.
Here's your sugar.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to turn on, you're ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Putting the pie in? Okay, I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to let it run at homemade. So we're going for that. I'm going to turn on the refrigeration. I'm going to start freezing now. My timer has started. I'm adding a little bit of sugar there because I think every apple pie I've ever had needed a little extra sweetness. And this is cinnamon sugar that Christi's putting in. We won't need the poppy seeds.
You want to start doing that and I'll break up the pie?
Okay, this is just apple pie filling and topping. And because the openings are so large on the Emery Thompson, we don't have to puree it. We can just put it right into the machine, right out of the can. Don't try this with any other machine because you won't get it in there.
Whoops.
Whoops is not good in ice cream making.
I put some on the floor.
Oh, the floor wanted it. Okay, that's one can. Now the second can. Now this is adding extra sugar to the formula. So if this was vanilla, I would expect my freeze time to be about 8 minutes. But now we're adding all this sugary pie filling, and sugar takes longer to freeze. That's why Italian ice takes longer than dairy ice cream because of the high sugar content. And we're also going to add a whole pie to it. So that's going to add...
Is there enough room?
Yeah, there is. That'll make for
You want me to do
even extra. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So the freezing time is going to be longer.
This is always the best part. It's fun.
No, the best part is when we're not filming and we're able to eat some of the pie filling before it gets into the machine. But live on camera, we can't do that. One little trick that'll save you plumbing bills. When you rinse out after some flavors, like say chocolate chips or pistachios or anything like that, 99% of it's going to be in your ice cream, but a small handful, just a little bit of pistachios might still be left in the machine. Go out and buy a spaghetti colander, put it in your sink, and then when you rinse the machine out, you take the rinse water and pour it through the spaghetti colander. Because if you're making 20 or 30 batches a day of ice cream, eventually you're going to clog up your drain, but if you pour the drain water through the spaghetti colander catches it and it doesn't clog up your drain. Just a little trick. Any questions so far? Three-phase versus single-phase, water-cooled versus air-cooled, anything like that?
Can you go over all of that, please?
No, it's too much.
Can you go over one of those?
Yes. All power in the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico is 60 hertz. That's the vibrations per second, and 220 volt. In other countries, over in Europe, the vibrations per second of the electricity is slower. It's 50 hertz. So they are two different animals. We build the machine to the country it's going into. We hand make all our machines, and then we take it a step further. We find out where you are, what city, what your voltage is, and then we build the machine to that specific voltage. So you might see on our literature, it might say 60/50. That just means your machine in the USA or North America will be built 60 hertz, just like everything else you buy. But if you're overseas, if you're in Saudi Arabia, if you're in South Africa, if you're in Indonesia, it's going to be 50 hertz, and we'll build it to that. Our voltage here is 220 volt, and it's what's called single phase. That's what's up in the box over here. And electrician refers to it as two hots in single phase, two hot wires and a ground. That's actually called single phase. I call it two wires that can electrocute you really quickly, plus a ground wire. And that's in every building in North America. In your house, in your apartment, the power comes in as 220 volts, and then your circuit breaker box breaks it down to 110 for your TV, for your blender, for your light bulbs. So you have single phase everywhere in America, so you want machines that are single phase. We build both single phase, and then this other thing called three phase, which is three wires that will electrocute you, plus a ground. And I have it here in my factory because we're using a lot more megawatts than you'll ever use in your house. And it allows me to bring more power into this building than you could ever have in your store by using three-phase power. Now here's the problem. 20 years ago, we would lie to the power company and we would say, hey, we're not going to just put one of these in, we're going to put 3, 4, 5 of them in. You'll never need 5 machines. We're going to put in 5 machines, we're going to buy a lot of electricity from you, and we need you to bring in three-phase power so I can run all these extra machines. The power company says, great, we're going to make a lot of money selling these people a lot of electricity. Nowadays, they're not building any more power companies. We did, power stations, not much. We didn't go nuclear. We're getting rid of coal. So now, instead of saying, oh, great, we want to see you run 5 machines, they're saying, tell us how much power you want, we'll give you 80% of what you requested. So what used to be free to bring into your building is now $90,000 to bring it in from the pole, or if it's just down a few buildings. So all the other machines on the market are built in three-phase power. You don't have three-phase power. You don't have $90,000, nor is it worth it. It'll never pay it back. So what they tell you to do is you've got to buy a separate unit for $3,000 called a phase changer. And it converts single phase into three-phase because they only build in three-phase. Those things burn out. They don't work well. You can't run the machine hours on end. So it's better. The bottom line is don't play that game. Buy single-phase equipment like everything else in your store, and it'll run forever just fine. Air-cooled versus water-cooled. The CB350 next to Christi only comes air-cooled because it's a smaller compressor. It's 2 horsepower. And it's not going to throw a lot of hot air into the store, so we build it that one way.
There's enough hot air in here now.
Yes, there is. Yeah. We build the bigger machines in air-cooled or water-cooled. 90% of what we build is water-cooled because everybody has water coming into their building, and an air-cooled machine is going to generate a lot of heat, a whole lot of heat. And how do you get rid of it? You get rid of it by air conditioning. So you're paying the power company all this cost because they're getting you for the electricity and for your air conditioning. So water-cooled is preferred, but the only people who buy air-cooled are you're in Saudi Arabia, you're in a desert country, and water's not available. You're down in the Caribbean where they're dependent on rainwater off the roof, or you're in Boston and you're on a septic tank. Instead of city water, all your wastewater goes down the drain into a big tank out in your backyard. And we don't want to fill that big tank with fresh water. It's a waste of money, so you buy an air-cooled machine. So water-cooled machine is much quieter than air-cooled. It generates zero heat, costs $1,000 less to buy. So when you ask those questions, the bottom line will be you want to buy single-phase water-cooled. That's simple. And it will run anywhere in North America that you want to go. You could run it in your living room if you wanted to. Any other questions? Gee, everybody's full.
They just want apple pie ice cream.
They just want apple pie ice cream, yes.
We're definitely going to have to watch that movie.
Yeah. And like I said, with the higher sugar content, it's going to take a little longer to freeze. So when people say, how long does this batch take? I say, what are you making? And that gives me the answer. If you're making a Philadelphia Italian ice, a Philadelphia cherry Italian ice, on this machine, it might be as long as 19 minutes, 20 minutes, whereas normally it would be 18 minutes. On the little one, it's 14 minutes. Because the Philadelphia, remember I had said in a previous video that Philadelphia has more sugar in it than New York. They like it smoother and creamier, and we add more sugar. I'm using cherry, so I've got fresh maraschino cherries in there, which are adding more sugar compared to lemon ice.
Yeah. I think we are okay. What do you think?
Yep, I like
All
it.
right.
So Christi just turned off the refrigeration, and she's going to pull it out, and we're going to need a lot more tubs.
Use that one. I have this.
Okay. Remember, that's a 12-quart machine.
I just need one more for the dripping.
Again, these I get at gelatosupply.com. If you use the code Emery Thompson, you'll get a 10% discount.
Ready?
Yep.
All right.
And we'll just let that get the last
You
bit
guys
out.
made my hair.
And that's it. That's how fast it was. We've got apple pie ice cream just that quickly. Any questions?
Right there. Oh, no, it was.
Here's the photo. There you go.
If you have any questions, Jeff's going to take over in a second. Christi is going to be leaving. If you have,
Always go to hell.
yeah. You can reach Christi at emerythompson.com. Me, Steve, at emerythompson.com. You're welcome to call. We have technical service 7 days a week, based right out of here, out of the factories. The head of it is in the next room, Mike, and he hates it when I say we have technical service 7 days a week. Because,
Love it.
yeah, love it. But so anytime you have a question, you just call us. Like I said, we're in 171 countries, and being 116 and a half years in business, we've heard everything. So whatever you think is a insurmountable problem is something that we've heard before, and we'll get you up and running. Real fast one on that. A now retired basketball player, Malik Rose, San Antonio Spurs. He's now, I think, still on ESPN. But Malik has or had a number of stores selling Italian ice. And he called me up one Saturday night and said, Steve, My 5-year-old machine is banging and clanking and making all sorts of awful noise. What's wrong with it? And I asked a few questions. I always ask, when did it last run right? And he said, well, it ran right 5 minutes ago when we were making lemon ice. I said, what are you making now? And he said, we're making cherry ice. And I said, okay, Malik, taste the cherry ice that's in the machine. Tell me what it tastes like. He tastes it and he says, oh, Steve, it's awful. It tastes like cherry juice and water. I said, yeah, you left the 7 pounds of sugar out. So there's nothing to freeze. You are literally just making ice cubes with the machine. So there was nothing wrong with the machine. It was strictly a matter of, he forgot, the person making the ice forgot to put the sugar in. And so that was about 8:15 at night, and by 8:20 at night, he's back up and running.
Did you get an autograph?
No. If it had been any other company, you would have gotten them probably on Monday, maybe Saturday night, I don't know. But they would have said, we'll send someone out on Monday. That someone would have come out and changed an expansion valve. It's a Freon valve in the machine. That's all they know to do. They changed the expansion valve for $250 plus $250 labor, and then they say, let's make cherry ice. And you mix up the formula, and you pour it in, and it runs beautifully. And you go, oh, wasn't this wonderful? I was only down for 2 days, and it only cost me $500, and I'm up and running. There was nothing wrong with the machine. It was they left the sugar out of the formula, which I have done. I've done everything. So our technical support is beyond belief. We've just heard amazing stuff, and usually Mike, once in a while they let me answer the phone, especially on weekends because nobody else wants to. We'll have you up and running in 5 minutes, and that's terrific. That's the kind of service we do. We do it because we're a family business. We treat all our customers as family. I said that to a guy a month ago, and I said, by the way, can I borrow $5? 3 days later, I get a $5 bill in the mail. He took me seriously. So I had to send him back $6 because he loaned me $5. I had to pay him interest. But we really do work like that. We are the largest at what we do, but we're still a small business attitude, and I think that makes all the difference in the world on how we look at business. Like Jeff was reading today, he's never done that before, reading emails off of his phone. He's so proud of the work that he's done, and rightfully so, and so am I. We all are. Mike, Christi, Paula, Kendall, Olga. Olga's from Russia. If you owe her money, watch out. I watched her take a Klishnikov, and blindfolded and take it apart and reassemble it. Interesting lady. But we're all family, and we're here to help. That sounds like a Ronald Reagan line. Are you ready, Mike? Mike.
That's Jeff.
I know it's Jeff. You want me to clean it out? What's your name?
Yes.
Yeah, you want me to clean
want
it
to
out?
rinse? I got the water ready right here.
I got to.
But it'll need at least 2 rinses.
All right, you talk. I'll rinse.
Okay.
Oh, you got the squishy bucket. This is impossible.
Are you kidding? Those are the coveted squishy buckets.
I know, but it's horrible. You can't.
I can't tell you that.
He can't tell you because he doesn't remember.
Use your right elbow to control the...
This is really difficult with the squishy buckets.
Those are you know about the famous squishy buckets, right? They're in demand. I could get a lot of money for those squishy buckets. Okay, so you know that I make regular flavors and adult flavors. You're going to need it.
I know. I'm going to use something that isn't
here.
squishy. Thank you.
I make regular flavors and I make adult flavors. Guadalupe, we made some adult flavors, right? Yeah. And in this class, I never make adult flavors. Today, however, we're going to make a unique product, and it is an adult flavor. It is called, and I sell this at the store, it's wildly popular, it's called Cherry Amaretto Freeze. It's called Cherry Amaretto Freeze because it's cream ice, not ice cream, cream ice. And I want to make this because I want you to see just how close to ice cream you can make cream ice. It's this close. And I'm not trying to make ice cream. It's incredibly refreshing, but it's different. And so we'll make it. Mike, you got that? So we'll make it with, by the way, cream ice. Just remember 3, 2, 1. That's your formula for cream ice. 3 quarts of water, 2 pounds of sugar, 1 quart of dairy mix, ice cream mix. 3, 2, 1. And that's for a 12-quart machine. So if you're going into the 24, it's 642. If you're going there, well, you get the point. So we'll use Amaretto and what else we need? Cherry of some kind. I found that I like this. This is Hartley's cherry. Hartley's cherry. Restaurant Depot. Very good. Have you heard of Hartley's? Yeah, it's very good. Ooh, it's cherry. Cherry, man, it's cherry. So all we need is, I'm going to use this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we need 3 quarts of water, 3 quarts of water, three quarts of water, 2 pounds of the good sugar. 2 pounds.
A love novel.
Yes, the good sugar. Yeah. All right.
Don't call me sugar.
We have another bag of sugar, I hope.
Yes, right there.
Right.
You're looking at it right up there.
Okay.
Up, up.
Up, up, and away?
Yeah, sound like I'm talking to the
Oh, look,
dog.
there's the bad sugar right behind it.
Yeah. We're saving that for when you leave.
Nah, you'll never use that.
No, never again. Not after that guy who worked for Domino.
Not after he verified everything that guy Jeff said.
Just the sugar, Jeff. Don't let it go to your head.
Just the sugar.
Just the sugar.
Yes, honey.
Just so what I was talking about, using the strainer and how little is left in the machine. Mike, can you get in on that? That's what was left out of the all that whole pie and the pie filling and everything else. So that's next to nothing. But that's enough to clog your drain after 2 or 3 batches of that. So you'll thank me on that spaghetti drainer.
All right, so what do we have? We have, you writing this down? No, of course not. 3 quarts of water, 2 pounds of sugar, 1 quart of mix. Maybe we can squeeze a quart out of this. One quart of mix. Oh, come on, baby. Come on. A little shy. A little shy. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Spatula. Okay, water and sugar will do as the maestro says, and we'll dissolve it.
I noticed you didn't mix it in with the ice cream mix when you were making the ice cream and the sugar. I think you put sugar
Right.
a little bit into
That's
it.
the bad boy in me. I don't do it.
Oh, okay.
In my mind, you have the greatest mix master in the world right there. I mean, you know the KitchenAid things that my wife used? It's nothing compared to this. So this, what I'm doing now, is done in there in 2-3 seconds. But I'll do as he says.
Well, it's It's going to kill the life of the blades from an average of 6 years to 5 years and 11 months.
Right. So I don't worry about it. Besides, I know where I can get stuff.
It used to be critical before the spring-loaded blades. Now it's not so critical. Why are you still here?
All right, so we'll put the water and sugar, the sugar water in. Gates closed. We'll put the cream in. And then we're going to add some cherry. We'll add, I don't know. Let's add this. And a little more. And now we'll add some amaretto. Anybody who can't have the alcohol just don't have this. Well, let's add about let's see how that tastes.
So when you're making it, obviously you've said over and over again, the more sugar you have in it, the longer it takes to freeze. When you do an adult version, you're adding alcohol. Does it add a significant amount of time?
Oh, sure.
Another minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
Oh, or maybe 5 or 6.
Okay.
It adds a significant amount of time. Oh, sure.
So it depends on how much you put in. If you put in a pint, it's going to be faster than if you put in a fifth. So it's up to you. But it will stay in suspension. Nobody else can do that. They don't have enough freezing. You have to add it as it's coming out of the machine.
If it weren't for that Emery Thompson machine that I stumbled on years ago,
Now, is that...
then the adult ice cream industry wouldn't exist, because I know you don't believe me, but I created this stuff. Even now, Haagen-Dazs offers a bourbon vanilla or something. It's because of me. Oh, yes, sir. You had a, no. Okay.
And that's the same across all the machines. All the machines can freeze.
Well, it's physics.
Yes.
It's just physics. All right. So now we're making in there. I should have had a little more dairy, but.
That apple pie ice cream is good.
Very good. Where's the bladder? Didn't we use half a bladder, or did you use half a bladder?
I just took out, yeah, I used, there it is, right over there.
Ah. We'll add just a little since it's here.
She's still here.
Now I feel better. So that's the story on what we're making. Cherry Amaretto Freeze. You taste it? Yes. Right? You had some, right? Very good. You had some too, right? Yes. All right. And that's what we're doing. So what else you want to talk about? Tired?
Tell me about the bug.
The bug?
Yeah. JD went down.
What?
1600 cc's.
No, that one's gone. Now I have a 2016 Bug convertible. That's my beach car. Yeah. I get stopped every day. Hey, cool car. What?
What made you move to Daytona?
It's the beach, dude.
Okay.
It's the beach. The ocean. You want to see? This is, the other night I changed my welcome picture to that. I took that picture from my house. It just, I mean, it was beautiful. It was more orange than that, but I'm not that good a photographer. So what made me move? Well, since she's not talking to me now or listening, I can say anything I want about her. Mike, you'll cut that, right? Sure, you'll hold me ransom.
I have never tried cream ice, so I'm excited both ways.
Cream ice, a friend of mine, my next door neighbor actually, when I lived in Coral Springs, his name is Evan, and he decided to open up, this was in 1997, 8, something like that. He decided to open a cream ice store. So he rented a place, and it's, oh, I don't know, maybe it's 900 square feet. It's a small store. And he opened it up selling only cream ice. Only cream ice. And man, the lines are around the block every day. And he sells it, he has about 150 flavors of cream ice. He has 2 Emery 44s cranking it out. He hires people to work during the night to make cream ice for him. He's doing well. And here's how it is. The line starts. He's got 3 visual dipping cabinets. They say, I'll have that. The person takes a wax Dixie cup, scoop, 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 spoon, pay. That's it. Very clean, very easy. Huh?
Still open or that was before?
Oh yeah, it's still open. It's called, you can look him up. It's called Cecily's Gourmet Italian Ices. And he's in Coral Springs, Florida. Cecily's, now why didn't he call it cream ice? Because nobody knows what that is. And it sounds like a sex shop. You know, you don't want to have a place called Joanne's Cream Ice. No, that's not going to happen. So he was smart. He called it Cecily's Gourmet Italian Ices. They're not Italian ices.
But there's dairy.
There's dairy in it, sure, but people recognize Italian ice. They understand that. So that's what it is. And all he sells is cream ice. And he switched a few years back to the digital board, you know. I mean, he's doing very well. And he was my neighbor, and when I lived down there, and very good. He's done very well. Any questions about cream ice, which we're making? You'll taste it. If you can't have alcohol or you don't want to, then don't have this, because we put in the better part of a bottle of Amaretto. And you'll see what it tastes like. It's good. It's very good. You're not going to have any, are you?
No.
Not even a taste.
What would you put into the 24 quart? 2 bottles?
No, 1 full bottle.
And what did you put in here?
It calls for a half. I dipped it a little.
You what?
I added a little more.
Okay.
But it calls for a half.
Okay. Now I'm just wondering how it's going to freeze.
Oh, it'll get there, but it might take a bit. That's why I'm hoping we have a lot of questions. Yes, ma'am. Gelato.
What's the difference between that?
Gelato is a low-fat ice cream. It's, what is it, 6 to 8, right?
Yeah, it depends on where you are in Italy. We run 10% here in the States.
Gelato is churned slower, so there's less air content, and you get less out of it because you're not putting as much air into it. Where on my machine I would get 6 gallons of finished ice cream. Gelato, you probably get 4. Because you're churning, there's less air in it. And you can make ice cream churn slower too.
There's a gelato setting on the machine. The main difference about gelato is the flavors. It's not Oreo cookie usually. It's not salted caramel. It's papaya. It's Curio de Agoluria, which is watermelon. Fruto di Scripoto. I don't know what that is. It looks like it's cherries. And gelato has failed in the United States. If you own a gelateria, you hate hearing that. and you say that's impossible because I'm from Europe and everything is gelato and we don't touch American ice cream, and that is absolutely true. They don't touch American ice cream unless we put an ice cream parlor in, and then they've got lines around the block. The whole world, according to a friend of mine who is a food scientist who specializes in gelato, he says everything has gone to American ice cream. There was a big craze about gelato. My simple way of putting what's wrong with it is an old expression, it's a one-trick pony. If you're only selling gelato and you don't have cream ice and you don't have American ice cream, you're losing out on a lot of your business, because I walk into a gelateria and Jeff walks into a gelateria and Paula walks into a gelateria, and I say, I'd like a tiramisu. Fine, they can treat me. Jeff wants a mint chip. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have mint chip gelato. Paula wants a cherry Italian ice. I'm sorry, we don't sell cherry Italian ice. You've just turned away 2/3 of your business, and they're very arrogant about it. I'm sorry, if you don't understand gelato, if you don't want my gelato, then you're low class. You don't know anything about food. That's one of the problems. The other, and now what's happened, and I see it in my own sales because I'm worldwide, throughout the Middle East, throughout Africa, South America, Asia, New Zealand, and Australia, people are calling up and saying, does your machine make ice cream? Not gelato, but does it make ice cream? Because the world loves ice cream. Another simpler way of putting it is, you're a 35-year-old millennial mom and you have a 5-year-old daughter, and you walk into a gelateria, or you walk into a business that sells frozen desserts. I guarantee you that daughter is not tugging on your dress saying, "Mommy, please, can I have a tiramisu?" It isn't happening. They're asking for, Mars bars or Heath candy bar, the candy ice creams. And children of all ages do that. We all want those candy fun ice creams. That's what sells. So gelato, there's an exception to everything. There's a place in Manhattan called Il Laboratorio, famous for its gelato in Manhattan. That's great. It's one store. I have about 1,000 stores in Manhattan and in the 5 boroughs, easily. And they're all doing ice cream, and they're way more famous. But people every once in a while bring up gelato. I think some of it is you go on vacation and you go over to Italy when you were able to do that, and you're going around and the food is better. The Italian food is better than anywhere in the world. And the Heineken beer tastes better than anywhere in the world. And the wine is better, and the gelato is better. Well, how much of that is because you're on vacation? If you had the exact same dinner and you had to eat it in 20 minutes because the boss wants you back at the office for a 10 p.m. meeting, how's it going to taste? So there's a lot of psychological in there, but we make better gelato than the Italians do, and I don't begrudge people putting it in. If that's what you want, have an extra cabinet for 4 or 5 or 6 flavors. But it's not going to sell the way ice cream does.
Truth be known, in your ice cream store, because we use 10%, churn it a little slower.
It's gelato.
Put a few of these in any of your recipes.
You do.
And just call it gelato.
And it's these
and
flavors.
You wouldn't be treating anybody.
And here's the company that I use. I use Fabry, F-A-B-B-R-I. I don't use any other. And I don't have ties to any of these people. Mrs. Fabry did begin in 1905, the same year as us, putting jars of jam and jellies. And they're no great friend of mine. They're around the corner from Cappigiani in Bologna, Italy. Their allegiance is to Cappigiani, but I talk about what is the best to buy, and the Fabry, and there is no second as far as I'm concerned.
What is that exactly?
That's a flavor.
Is it a flavoring? What is it?
It's going to be a paste. There's another company who I won't mention who does mostly powders, and they taste like powders. This is real good stuff. You could just eat this out of the jar as a jam, and it's fantastic. But gelato as a product has faded away badly in America, mainly because it was too narrow. I always joke about if I was going to make that apple pie cake that Christi did today, if I decided to go into Steve Thompson's House of Cakes, I'm going to specialize in a whole bunch of different apple pie cakes or other cakes. It's too narrow, and then there's a name for it. It's called IHOP. IHOP does pancakes, and they'll have cakes, and they'll have other things, but they know their business model. So the reason we make better gelato than anybody else is, I'll show you right here. This will get me in trouble with everybody. Here is a bag of chocolate powder. Now, this is a dairy product. This began its life on the Pampas in Argentina, where the cows were milked. There are beef cattle in Italy. There's not much in the way of dairy cattle. So the cow was milked in Argentina. The product, the dairy was then sent through a series of door screens called a spray dryer, invented by a family friend that I grew up with. And they turn it into a powder. They then ship it in bulk to Bologna, Italy. Bologna puts it into these nice bags. They ship it to the Port of Elizabeth, and then they ship it to you in Dubuque, Iowa. And then you have to reconstitute it with water. That's gelato. Let me show you my gelato. Where'd it go?
What?
Right here.
What?
I'm going to show it. Oh, it's leaking. Here's my gelato. Milk, cream, sugar, skim milk came out of the cow yesterday, and yes, it did come out of the cow yesterday, was processed overnight and delivered to your store at about 5 in the morning. Now, do you want this, or do you want this product has more sky miles than I do? This is why we Americans can make better gelato, because we're using fresh dairy. They're using a powder. We got it hands down. So if you want gelato, you'll make the best in the world.
Okay, we're ready?
If you say. Is it ready?
Yeah.
Oh.
I wait for the compressor to go.
Good idea. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. And that's with all the alcohol in there. Don't try that with another machine. It won't work. I forgot what I was here for.
You're here to work.
I was just admiring it. Do you want to make this the last product of the day?
Yeah.
Put on. Okay,
It's
folks.
okay that you cheated me. It's all right.
I know. I'm trying to get you on the road.
Oh, don't worry.
On the road again.
Never.
Just can't wait
Never
to get you
worry
on the
about
road
that.
again. After this, if you'd like, I'm going to give you a tour of this factory. We have 3 factories. We have here, we have up the street, and across the
Keep
street.
working. Double task.
Sorry. This is the one where we do the final assembly. So I'm going to give you a tour of that. So if you have any last questions, good time to ask them.
You're talking about gelato and ice cream. There's a difference in fat content between what we get as a mix, and if you're making artisan gelato, there's certainly less fat content. You're using closer to whole milk.
No. I had a person describe it to me from Italy very well. He's one of my competitors, actually.
2 more.
And he said, I said, what fat content is gelato? He said, which city? Okay. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, in Milan, it's around 8%. In Rome, it's about 6%. And in Sicily, it's 2%. Because in Sicily, they do not have the money to buy gelato that is 8% fat. So it's strictly by price. He said, there is no set rule for gelato. There is set rules for ice cream. Ice cream is 10% minimum, and there is no upper end.
My point
He
is,
doesn't want
gelato
it.
generally is less fat content than ice cream.
Right.
No, it's the
But
alcohol.
nobody cares. When they're going, nobody cares. I mean, when was the last time you went into an ice cream parlor and said, now, how is this going to affect my diet?
Let me erase the chalkboard and ask a different question.
Yeah.
Can we order our own mix at our own fat content levels? I haven't seen any eggs being used. I know you use rice sometimes.
Yeah, nobody uses eggs because we're all terrified of them. Bird flu gets eradicated every single year, and then it comes back. it comes back with a vengeance every spring. And it's just a mess. So most of the dairies I know are not using eggs. That's why I use the iRice Bavarian base. It's all egg yolks. It's been pasteurized. It's in a can. I can add it, and now I've got a custard base. You're not going to get specialized mix unless you can buy at least 1,000 gallons at a clip. No dairy's going to. Probably won't do it for you then. No dairy's going to do it because it's a whole new setup. We're geared up to man. It's like you saying, okay, I want this made in blue stainless steel panels. Well, it would probably cost you $100,000 because we're not geared to do it.
Okay,
So they're not going to do that for you.
So in my particular area, whatever area that is, we just call up the local dairy or the good dairy and say, what's your ice cream mix, and they'll tell us.
That's right. And you call up 2 or 3 of them. My criteria for picking a good dairy is, number one, the taste. I bring in 3 dairies. I taste them making just no vanilla, just run it through the machine, what we call sweet cream ice cream. I taste it. I say, okay, out of these 3, I like this one. All right, so I mark it. Okay, now, what about price? Well, the one I picked is 25 cents a gallon more than the second runner-up of what I like. But for 25 cents, I'll eat it. Excuse the pun. I'll eat the cost, and I'll go with this one. And the third one, surprisingly, is do I like the people? We had 3 dairies in New York when I was up there 16 years ago. And you had, one of them was Panza. They're still there. And Vito Panza.
Vito.
Vito is a good man. He knows his business. And if you're having a particularly bad winter, he would say, listen, I know you're not bringing in a lot of money, so we'll cut your bill in half, and then we'll double up on June, July, and August. The other dairy, which isn't there anymore, the son ran it. He gave the expression "son of the boss," an SOB. You know, a particularly bad name for us SOBs, because his idea was if you were slow on your bills in the middle of January, he sent in Bruno and Knuckles to break your kneecaps and then collected the money. Well, I don't want my kneecaps broken. So who you're dealing with, another way of putting it politely is you're giving them $35,000, $40,000 a year. Wouldn't you say it's about correct figure, Jeff?
What?
What do you spend on mix a year?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's say $35,000. For $35,000 year in and year out, you better like the people. So I go by taste, price, and do I like the supplier? And just because you're in a remote location doesn't mean we can't find you a dairy. It might be brought in by Cisco, or you might have to buy in large quantity. But there's all sorts of ways to get that mix in there. Now, once you get the mix and you pour it into the machine, the Food and Drug Administration kind of looks the other way and says, well, okay, you've done what we told you to do. You had to go buy a dairy mix that's been pasteurized, the whole works. But you've got a sweet tooth. And so you decide, I wish my mix was sweeter. So you add another 2 cups of sugar. That's an ingredient. I wouldn't want to go into court with this, but if you decide, gee, I'd like to up the fat content a little, I wonder what would happen if I added a pint of cream. I think most people would argue that's an ingredient. Like I said, I wouldn't want to go into court with it, but once you buy it, what you do here is your own business.
Well, vice versa, if you wanted to add skim milk, you could thin it out a little bit.
Yeah, but most times the dairyman will tell you what you're doing is throwing it out of balance because it's in perfect balance of milk, cream, sugar. And do you know why skim milk's in there? It's in there because skim milk is, well, it's got a fancy term, milk solids, not fat. In other words, skim milk is heavy cream with all the fat removed. So the good stuff, the non-fat stuff that makes it cream is still all in there. So we can up the amount of butterfat content in here without adding extra fat. And usually we do it by, instead of adding skim milk because it's a liquid and it's going to dilute it, we add this. I saw it here recently. We keep it in our hurricane closets. Non-fat dried milk. I don't see any here, but it's Borden or one of those companies, but it says non-fat dried milk powder. And we keep it in case a hurricane comes and no power for 3 days. We can put a little in our coffee, and it's like adding skim milk without diluting the product.
So you use it in ice cream production?
You can. It's in most of your mixes. But if I was going to improve on a mix, I wouldn't add more cream. I'd add more non-fat dried milk because I'm getting all the good stuff without the fat. So,
I get it.
but again, nobody analyzes the fat content. They analyze were the chips, chocolate chips, not chalky, and was it really strong on mint? You pick up Breyers and it's like eating vanilla, even though it's green and has chips in it. I mean, they're so chintzy on the mint extract.
Yeah,
So.
some of the store-bought stuff tastes like nothing.
Yeah, I personally like Bluebell. I showed the class last time. They had a couple of containers of Bluebell in here, and everybody goes, "Oh no, you can't do that. You're eating commercial ice cream." I said, "Yeah, but my grandfather put them in business in 1910, so it's okay."
So is that all right? That was cream ice. Cream ice, pretty close to ice cream, isn't it? Yeah. Except that you have the benefit of throat freeze.
And it's a fraction of the cost.
And it's certainly refreshing. I mean, you get a hot day and you have some cream ice, woo.
Yeah, it'll cool you off. Any other questions? Well, then I'll give you a tour of the factory if you're ready. You might want to bring your stuff along with you.
Because he throws you out.
Yeah, we have a
end.
door in it's from P.T. Barnum. It says egress. Come see the egress. Well, that means exit.
Come see the egress.